Hello, Are we good to go? Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to your very own BYJU'S 9th and 10th grade channel. I'm Aishwarya and a part of our BYJU'S series where we are going to be helping you prep for your board exams. Today, we are going to be looking at the top 30 exemplar subjective-based questions from the chapter, How Do Organisms Reproduce? So we have 30 questions that we are going to be solving, especially from exemplar, and knowing that this time's board exam is going to be subjective, it is very, very important to practice them. So we have it in store for you, and I hope all of you are excited for today's class. So I can see that a lot of you are here already. There's Kamna, Kanchan, Chotu Sabacha, there's Anupriya, Lakshit, Vaishnavi, Aditi, Avisha, Aisha, Kashifa, Shrishti, a lot of you are here. Welcome everybody, welcome to the class. I hope all of you are excited. Please make sure that you have your notebooks and pens ready with you, and please also make sure that you have your textbooks in hand as well, so you can make a note of it. And very quickly, I hope my audio, my video and my screen and what I am writing on my screen is visible to all of you. If it is, please do go ahead and give me a quick thumbs up. Yes? Please do give me a quick thumbs up and we will get started. Hello Satyam, hello. Yes, I can see Karthik is here. All of you are giving me the thumbs up. Well done. So now everybody, a quick reminder to a lot of my students out here, because our team who moderates the chat, they have been noticing that there has been a lot of diversion from the subject that we are talking about, and a lot of internal conversation is happening, which is why nowadays the chat moderators have become very strict with how they are going to moderate the chat, which is why I request you to just give me 1.5 hours of your time, right? Because we have 30 questions to solve and it's quite a bit of questions. So I would request you to just give me 1.5 hours of your time. We'll quickly go through them, and by the end of it, I promise you that you will be thorough with this chapter, and by doing the exemplar questions, we would have more or less covered all the possible kind of questions that could come, especially on a board exam front as well, right? So please make sure that you stay focused and you refrain from having internal conversations, because if you do have anything which is beyond subject, the moderators might time you out, or worse comes to worse, you might get blocked as well, and we do not want that, right? So please make sure that you stay focused in class. I don't want any of this happening to all of you, and I'm sure that in some of the sessions you would have noticed this as well. So please stay focused, right? And please make sure that you share this video with your friends so that they can come and watch this video as well. So I can see that quite a bit of you are here already. And Kanchan, we will be doing the exemplar subjective questions from life processes as well, so don't worry. And if you are new to the class, right? I can see a lot of you are new. Then for all of you out there who is new and probably seeing this video for the first time, or maybe this is the first time that you're visiting our BYJU'S 9th and 10th grade channel, then let me tell you that this is the place where we prepare you for the boards. And we don't take this lightly, okay? This is a very serious job. We find it to be very important, which is why the BYJU'S series is there, because this series, along with many which are on the way, like the PYQ sprint, the critical questions, we'll be having MCQ crushers, paper analysis has already been done, one shot, so many more sessions like that will be coming your way to revise all the concepts you have already studied, to make sure that you practice well, such that at the end of the day, you will ace your boards and you will score 95% plus, right? That is our aim. That is our target. That all our students in our channel must or should be able to achieve 95%, right? And yes, Avisha, with control coordination also will be coming in very soon. So we're starting with how do organisms, and slowly we'll finish heredity, our environment, then we'll come back to life processes, or, and control coordination, okay? Yes, all right. Yes, we will be doing in Smartboard, but this time around, because it's subjective questions, I'll be doing in the BICOM, right? And of course, you know that we've had a smart playlist out for all of you. So if you still not checked that video out, you'll be finding a smart playlist where if you just register yourself in a Google form, you will be able to get access to all the top-notch videos of one-shots, NCERT exercise, NCERT exemplars for those which have been done, right? You will have access to all of it, right? And we have a comprehensive playlist made, so this will definitely this will definitely help you out. So if you want to go back, watch like one part of a video, it's easy for you to navigate, and this will definitely help because in your board exam and when you're preparing for it, you don't want to waste time on YouTube searching for which video is where, right? Which is why we will definitely be coming with it. Now, Gogol, I have already taken one class on heredity numericals, and Ankita ma'am is coming tomorrow, right? She'll be coming tomorrow with another set of questions from heredity. So don't worry, bacha, we will get you sorted. We will definitely help you out with it, right? Yes, all right. So very quickly, everybody, what I would tell you is to give me a quick excitement level check in the chat, and then we are going to get started. And for those of you who will be asking me, ma'am, how much time is this class going to be? This class will go for 1 to 1.5 hours because you know we have 30 questions, right? मैम बोर्ड में कितने न्यूमेरिकल आएंगे बायो से especially if you look at your sample paper you will definitely get one Mendelian based question, right? So if you look at it, you had one Mendelian based question in your sample paper, so chances are that you might get one or maybe two numerical based ones from biology. From, of course, other subjects, you will definitely, Saurabh sir, Kriti ma'am will be telling you, but from biology, yes, we will mostly get 1 or 2 questions. Josh is super duper high, then I have nothing more to worry about. I am going to get started. So here is the first question on your screens, and I want you to be very active in answering because I'm going to be checking how much you know as well, right? And of course, at the end of the day, I'm going to be tallying your marks. So let's see how much you scored out of 30, okay? So we have a bisexual flower, and we see that in this bisexual flower that is there, what do we see? The young stamens have been removed. That means which will have both pistil and stamen. We see that now stamen has been removed artificially. That means I have gone and I have plucked it out. Now what is going to happen, right? So for some reason they're saying that it still produced a fruit. So in this case, what do you think would have happened? Yes? Am I not audible? I hope the audio is good. Okay. Yes, for those of you who are struggling with audio, right? I can, Vishnu, could you please check the chat? A lot of them are saying I'm not audible. I am audible now. Okay, amazing. For those of you for whom I am not audible, please refresh once. Okay? Please do refresh your page once. Yes, thank you, Aina. Thank you so much. Yes. So in the meanwhile, can you tell me what is the answer for this? How is it that this flower now became a fruit? What is the reason behind it? Can you tell me? Very good, very good. Shifa has given me the answer. Yes. Ma'am, is Lakmeer Singh. Lakmeer Singh is a good practice book. For a lot of questions, I would recommend that you take it for questions. But for studying, start with NCERT, go to Exemplar and then go to Lakmeer Singh, right? Yes, very good everybody, very good, exactly. So now we know that if there's a bisexual flower, they have not specified that it's undergoing only self-pollination. There has been no mention of it, right? So even though the stamen has been removed, right, there are chances that pollen from another stamen can be, transferred to the stigma of this flower which has no stamens, right? So yes, the perfectly appropriate explanation is that when the stamens of a bisexual flower is removed, right, cross-pollination can take place which results in fertilization, and once fertilization takes place, you know that fruit formation will happen. Now here what I want you to focus is, it's a very simple question. It will come for 1 mark or sometimes even 2 marks, right? Now in these cases, you don't need to write stories. You need to be very to the point, right? That stamens of a bisexual flower, when they are removed, cross-pollination will take place, resulting in fertilization and production of fruit. Very simple and easy, right? So for those of you, you can take a screenshot of this slide, or I will definitely be sending it to you on Telegram, and you can take the answers from there as well. But most importantly, I need you to focus on this. So in this case, if you get this kind of a thing, the keywords that they will be looking for are cross-pollination and how this will ultimately result in fertilization and production of fruit. If that is the case, you will get 1 out of 1 here. Okay? Yes, all right. Now, of course, moving on to the next one, right? The next question is, can you consider cell division as a type of reproduction in unicellular organisms, right? Give one reason. What do you think is the answer to this? Ma'am, SST class ho gaya. I took an SST class. Ankita ma'am has finished, right? The SST classes are done for the day. Now we're looking at biology, right? So let's stay focused. So here the second question is, can you consider cell division as a type of reproduction? Now, I want you to give me the answer in a way in which you would probably write in your exams, right? So that's something I need you to tell me. Okay, exactly. So, Aina has told me, ma'am, yes, DNA replicates and forms a new organism. Yes, in amoeba. Okay, very good. You're giving me an example, binary fission. Okay. Ma'am, poll. So here I would like to do a poll, right? But the thing is, because we are doing subjective questions, I will need you to stay a little more active on the chat. Very good, very good. You have to give reason also. You can't just tell me yes in amoeba. What is the reason behind it, right? Amoeba splits into 2 cells. Very good. Yes, so that is correct. But now all of you are giving me the answer. But what you are all missing so far in the answers that I am seeing is the fact that you have to compare it to cell division, right? You will have to compare it and contrast it with cell division. So what do we mean by that? We know that cell division is nothing but a phenomena or a process by which a single cell gives rise to 2 daughter cells, right? So this is what we understand of cell division. Now, in certain unicellular organisms like amoeba, we see that a single organism undergoes various processes, right? Or it undergoes various changes within itself such that a single organism will now divide to give rise to 2 offsprings or 2 daughter cells. So, in this case, it is very similar to amoeba, right? Which is why you will have to add that point that it is similar to amoeba in what way? So you will have to mention about cell division, okay? For those of you who understood this, if you are saying yes, it is similar to cell division, then how? That give reason holds 1 mark, right? So 1 mark is for identifying yes or no. Second mark is on justifying. That is how you are going to get 2 marks. So in this case, you start with point number 1 saying that, yes, we consider cell division as a type of reproduction in unicellular organisms like amoeba. Cell division results in formation of 2 daughter cells, and in the case of unicellular organisms like amoeba, a similar process takes place such that it results in the formation of 2 individuals. Very good, Chota Beam. Very good. You write these 2 points, you are getting 2 out of 2 marks, okay? So totally in this paper, you have scored 3 out of 3 marks, right? So now you have scored 3 out of 3. Are we able to follow? Yes, I think, Mohammed, I think Zara, this is you. Zara, I will tell you about how twins are formed, okay? Let's get to a question which is similar to that so that I'll be able to tell you the answer. Yes? Are we clear or do we have doubts? क्या ये PDF मिलेगा आपको? जरूर ये PDF मिलेगा टेलीग्राम चैनल पे. आप प्लीज रजिस्टर कर लीजिए, ठीक है? Yes, all right. Are we clear, everyone? If my pace is a little fast for all of you, tell me, I can slow it down also. Ma'am, no. How, ma'am? Okay, for those of our friends who still didn't understand, I am going to help you out, right? Sorry about that, Zed. Sorry. So coming back, when we talk about cell division, right? We know that cell division is nothing but a process wherein a single cell, right, will undergo certain changes and it will give rise to 2 daughter cells, right? It will basically divide and give rise to 2 daughter cells. While on the other hand, when we talk about unicellular organisms like amoeba, we know that they undergo a process, especially a type of asexual reproduction known as binary fission, right? And in this case, the parent cell, a single cell that is there, will undergo series of changes and it will give rise to a daughter cell, right? Or gives rise to two daughter cells. So effectively, the parent is splitting into two to give two daughter cells, which is why in this case, in the case of organisms like amoeba, bacteria, which all exhibit binary fission, it is very similar to cell division that does take place, right? Which is why when you are writing the answer, these 2 points needs to be there. Okay, I will be slow. I'm sorry, I know my pace was a little faster, but if you need me to be slow, I will definitely be slow, right? So don't worry about it. Now we'll move on to the third question. What is amoeba? Amoeba is a unicellular organism, Satyendra. Okay, very, very important to know, right? So question number 3. What is a clone? Why do offsprings formed by asexual reproduction exhibit remarkable similarity? Now this right here is something you can get for 2 marks in very short answers, right? So first and foremost, in your own words, what do you understand by a clone? Can you tell me? That is the first part of the question, right? What do we mean by clone? Yes, so for those of you, in the meanwhile, when you give me the answer, for those of you who are asking me about doubts regarding this, I will definitely be taking it as and when. So whatever doubts you have, we have questions based on all of it and we'll be covering it, okay? Very good. Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Chota Beam, for explaining what are twins, right? Although I could not explain it on the spot. A copy of the parents. Okay, very good. A copy of the parents is the right way. What else? What else do we add? There is a key word, okay? When you are writing about clone, no, I'll tell you one thing. There's one keyword that you will have to write. And if you don't write that, no, the definition of a clone is incomplete. Yes? Carbon copy. Very good, undaunted player. Yes. So clone is an offspring, right? Through which formed by asexual reproduction. Okay, they exhibit remarkable similarity. Fine. Variations are not found in them, which is why they exhibit remarkable similarity. Yes, very good. Very good, Yash. Very good, Aina. Very good. So when you're talking about clones, right, we see that clone is defined as an exact carbon copy of a single parent, right? Or we say is exactly identical. See, when we talk about asexual reproduction, we always tell, no, when we talk about characteristics of asexual reproduction, we always say that the offspring is identical to the parent, right? So this right here is very, very important to say it is exactly identical or it is a copy, a carbon copy of a parent, right? And in the case of when we go back and we say why, right? Why do offsprings formed by asexual reproduction exhibit remarkable similarity? Because in the case of asexual reproduction, we see that only one parent is involved, right? And this one parent will undergo series of changes and then give rise to the offspring. And here we see that during this process, the DNA copying mechanism takes place so that whatever genetic material is there in the parent will more or less be there in the offspring as well. And if there is no change at all from the parent, no, we call this offspring as a clone. If the genetic material is identical in the both, right? Negligible variation, exactly. There will be negligible variation in this case. And this, we of course do not observe any variation simply because gametes are not involved. So what are clones? Like how Abhisha is asking me. Clones refer to identical offsprings of an organism, which is most often than not formed by asexual reproduction. And why do they exhibit that remarkable similarity? Simply because they possess the exact copy of the DNA from their parent, which is why they have this similarity. Yes, very good, because no variations are there. So if the genetic material in parent 1 is same as in offspring, then this offspring here, so let's call this offspring as X. So we see that offspring X will have the same genetic material as 1. That means that X is a clone, okay? Dolly was the clone. Dolly was an example of the clone sheep, right? So Dolly was an example of the clone sheep, yes. Are we clear? This is a very easy one. 2-mark question. You get 1 mark for writing what is clone. You will get 1 mark for writing why they exhibit remarkable similarity. Okay. These are 1 mark each. Undaunting player आज मेंटी नहीं है क्योंकि आपको पता है मेंटी still recovering, right? So mainly in subjective questions what you need to learn and all of you should understand is how to write the answer. I cannot stop stressing on it. No, that's why. A clone is a daughter cell with negligible variation. Is my answer correct? Yes. A daughter cell, more than daughter cell, no chota beam, I'll say write offspring, right? Say a clone is a offspring of a parent which has negligible variation, or offspring produced by asexual reproduction with negligible variation. You can write that, okay? Very good, Kanchan, very good. And Harika, I am amazing, very excited to be with all of you. So now with this, if you see out of 3 questions, 2 marks also if you get here, 5 out of 5 marks, you would have all scored. Moving on to question number 4. Yes, Yash. Explain how offsprings and parents of organisms that reproduce sexually have the same number of chromosomes. Okay? Very, very important question. I'll put a star mark next to this. Okay? Very important. Explain how offsprings of parent. Okay? So you have parent and offsprings. Yes, correct. Sorry. I read that as something else. Offsprings of sexually reproducing. Alright, so you know they are reproducing sexually. How they have the same number of chromosomes. Yes? Meiosis. Yes, you're on the right track. Ma'am, why do periods come? Periods happens because in the female body, you know that, developmental changes takes place. When the female attains sexual maturity, we know that the inner lining of the uterus will start to thicken, and of course, on a monthly basis as the egg is released, and fertilization does not take place, the inner lining of the uterus, which has blood and mucus, it will be shed along with the unfertilized egg, resulting in menstruation. It's a cyclic process, hence menstrual cycle. Very good. Uses meiosis by which the chromosomes get halved. Yes. After cell division. Very good. Very good. Yes. Half DNA copying. More than that, I would prefer that you say, use the term haploid diploid, right? Yes, yes. Hello, Aisha. Hello. Okay. So now, of course, as we know, if you have to talk about sexually reproducing organisms, the most common example that is there of humans, right? And we know that in humans, there are 46 chromosomes in males and females. And offsprings also at the end of the day have 46 chromosomes. But in sexually reproducing organisms, we observe gamete formation. And during gamete formation, we know that gamete formation takes place by a process called as meiosis, or what we call as reductional division, right? So here in meiosis, we see that the chromosome number becomes half, right? So a diploid cell, so 46 here is 2n, or it is in diploid nature. But after meiosis, what happens is that the number becomes half, or it becomes n, where in this case, it becomes 23 chromosomes. So the number between parent and offspring is maintained in sexually reproducing organisms simply because of meiotic division, right? So when you're writing the answer, 2 points you need to write. In sexually reproducing organisms, start with saying that gamete formation takes place. How? It takes place by meiotic division. And meiotic division is a type of reductional division, wherein we know that gametes will end up containing half the number of chromosomes, right? So this they here is nothing but gametes. So gametes will contain half the number of chromosomes when compared to the somatic cell. And because in sexually reproducing organisms, gametes will fuse during fertilization, the original number is maintained, right? Ma'am, what will always 23 chromosomes be contributed? Yes, 23 chromosomes will always be contributed from the gametes, right? So the sperm is the male gamete, the egg is the female gamete. They will always be 23 and 23. But a somatic cell is one which is an any other body cell. Any cell which is not a reproductive cell is a somatic cell. So if you take my skin cell, you take my, maybe liver cell, they are all somatic cells, right? And all those cells will have 46 chromosomes. Yes? Ma'am, male has 46, female. No, Shravani, that will not be the case, right? Male has 46 chromosomes, female has 46 chromosomes. But male and female, especially in sexually reproducing organisms, they will produce gametes, right? Or they will produce reproductive cells, no? And these gametes, when they are formed, we see that reductional division takes place where only half and half will be there, right? That means 23 and 23. So in this case, 23 will come from the sperm, 23 will come from egg, and they will fuse as a result of fertilization. So 23 plus 23 will now become 46, right? Yes. So what is asexual reproduction? Asexual reproduction is a mode of reproduction where only one parent is involved. What is diploid, right? So diploid is a condition. So diploid is a condition where two sets of chromosomes are present, right? And haploid, which is often represented as 2n. Haploid is only when one set, right, of chromosomes, or you can say half the number of chromosomes. So half the number of chromosomes are present, right? And the easiest way to understand this is 46 is 23 pairs, right? And in the case of haploid, only 23 chromosomes are there. Triploid is when triple the number of chromosomes, right? Yes, okay. And for more updates on other sessions, say subscribe to our channel, right? Always stay subscribed. Now, what are variations? Variations are nothing but slight differences that we observe amongst organisms of the same species, right? So these are what we call, this is what we understand by this, okay? Yes, are we clear everybody? So far, are we clear with this? Take a screenshot for those of you who want this definitions, because you know when I have a black screen, right? It will be very difficult. It will not come back. That is the terminologies, Chota Beam, but I'll get back to you on this, right? A lot of you have asked me. Yes, okay. Crystal clear, amazing. So if you are enjoying this class and if you are enjoying what we do, don't forget to hit that like button. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel, right? Don't ever forget to do that. Now moving on to question number 5. It was a very interesting one, an easy one. Colonies of yeast fail to multiply in water, but they multiply in sugar solution. Give one reason for this. What is the reason behind it, right? Yes, okay. Ma'am, could you please side? Okay, I think I have changed the slide, but you can go back, Swada, and watch it, right? Okay. Yes, everybody, very quickly. Adriti, can I give your answer after this? I mean, can I answer your question after I finish this question on what is niche? Yes? Fermentation, okay, close enough. It's a very easy one, right? It's not very tough. Needs pyruvate. In sugar, nutrients are present, right? While in water, there are no nutrients, okay? Harika, can you elaborate the MPCB? Can you elaborate it and tell me what is what, right? Presence of glucose, very good. So now we know that in the case of organisms like yeast, right? So if in the case of yeast, we know that when it is in water, I will not say no nutrients. I would rather say that it is inadequate, right? We know that it is not enough for organisms to survive. But when it is in sugar, we know that sugar is nothing but a carbohydrate, right? Or if we take the simplest sugar, it is glucose. And we know that glucose is utilized for obtaining energy. Energy is required for life processes, right? And of course, one among the many life processes or one among the important processes for which energy is consumed is also for reproduction, right? So here we see that organisms, or especially yeast colonies, they are able to grow Why are they able to grow in sugar solution? Because they are getting energy, right? So it is important to understand that sugar provides energy that is required for carrying out various life processes in yeast. In water, it fails to reproduce because of inadequate energy, okay? Very good. Ma'am, yeast needs pyruvate which comes from sugar when dissolved in water. Yes, you can answer or you can make it simple also, Chota Bhim. You can just say that, from sugar it obtains energy. But this is also correct, right? And for those of you asking for SST classes, I would tell you that the next SST class for class 10 will come on Friday by Ankita Ma'am on print culture. Yes? Okay, Ma'am, I did not understand this. I'll explain it. Don't worry. See, I'll go to the question slide. It makes it easy for me to explain them. They're saying that colonies of yeast or one population of yeast, what they have done, they have taken some of it and they have put it in water, okay? And they took some of it and they put it in sugar, all right? And what they saw that when it was in water, it didn't grow much or it did not reproduce much. While it was in sugar, they were reproducing and growing in number. Why did they do this? Or why did it happen in sugar solution? Because in water, see, at the end of the day, to do any activity, you require energy, right? And in water, there is not enough carbohydrates, there is not enough, there is not enough nutrients to utilize, right? It is inadequate. Or if inadequate is a very fancy word, simple, not enough, right? It is not enough for the yeast to survive and grow in number, which is why when it is in sugar, sugar is a carbohydrate, right? So we know that carbohydrates are what is utilized for getting energy. So in sugar, they get a lot of energy. And if they get a lot of energy, then they're able to grow, right? And they're able to grow in size. Yes. Very good, Swadha. Very good. Yes, they are not getting enough nutrients. Rahul, what happened? What happened? Don't worry, please. I hope you're not hurt. Okay? 2 marks. Very simple and easy. Okay? Ma'am, okay. What should you pick? Harika, please pick what you are most confident with, right? Subjects that you feel confident, pick that. Yes? Now moving on to the next one, which is also a very commonly asked question in the exam. Okay? Give 2 reasons for the appearance of variations amongst progeny formed by sexual reproduction. Now, some of you are asking me, ma'am, what is sexual reproduction? So, sexual reproduction can be defined. So, I'm writing the definition for all of you. Can be defined as the process, or I would say it can be defined as the mode of reproduction wherein 2 parents are involved, right? Now after this I will not write because I want you to tell me the answer. Ma'am, ye class 10th, this is class 10th ka, right? This is mainly for that. What are disadvantages? I have 2 questions with me which I will answer after this, right? I'm going to answer what is the difference between fragmentation and binary fission, and I will take disadvantages of asexual reproduction after you give me the answer to this. Remind me if I forget, okay? Because I don't have those questions with me, right? Which is why I want to take those questions. Yes? I will make a quick revision, Hansika. Don't worry, right? Yes, okay. Error in copying in DNA, okay, fusion of 2 different set of genes. See, we're talking about sexual reproduction, not asexual reproduction, yes? Can't answer, ma'am, waiting for answer to come. Okay, chalo, no problem. See, in sexual reproduction, right, variations don't happen because of DNA copying error. DNA copying error is one way in which variations happen, yes? But most often than not, in humans, DNA copying error is not something that we can really afford at all times, right? But rather what happens, because there are 2 sets of gametes, right? We see that gametes are involved. Yes, and in this case, what do we see? We see that there is a male gamete and a female gamete. And both of them have different sets of chromosomes. And when these chromosomes are formed, internally we also see that they undergo some variations by crossing over, and Ankita Ma'am has explained that already in meiosis, right? So we observe by crossing over some variations take place. Now apart from that, we also see as a result, there are some gene combinations, right? So we observe that there are certain gene combinations which come as a result of fusion. So when the male and female gametes fuse, we observe that there are some gene combinations, and as a result, they result in variation. So are we clear with this? Are we clear as to why we are getting variation? Progeny is nothing but offspring, baby, right? What is mitosis and meiosis? Mitosis, that is there, is known as equational division, right? Wherein we see that if there is a parent cell, right? So if we see there's a parent cell with diploid chromosome, or assuming in our case, let's take 46 chromosome, we see that at the result of mitosis, the daughter cells will have 46 and 46. But in meiosis, which we will observe only in sex cells or the reproductive cells, we see that it is reductional division. So if it is reductional and there is a cell which has 46 chromosomes, at the end of it, we will get a cell with 23 and 23. Chromosome number becomes half, right? So that is what you need to know about mitosis and meiosis. So in this case, when you are writing the answer, the two major reasons for appearance of variation is there are two sets of characters coming in because two parents are involved, and gene combination in different gametes. So are we clear? Are we clear with this? Okay? Where does mitosis occur? In all the cells of our body. I mean, most cells of our body, right? Except like for neuron and all of that. So in most cells of our body, mitosis happens. Meiosis will happen only in the reproductive cells. And Abhinav, you have asked me for one very important one. What is the significance of sexual reproduction? Significance of sexual reproduction is simply because of the variations, right? Variations will eventually, over a period of time, it will accumulate and accumulate and accumulate, resulting in micro and then eventually leading to macro evolution, right? So variations are necessary for the formation of new species and also for surviving and adapting better, right? But again, not all variations are useful. Important to understand. Vishnu, can we keep an eye on the... Okay. All right. So now Abhinav had asked me a question. Abhinav, can you remind me what was the question? I think it was on... Yes. Abhinav, could you just quickly tell me once? I think you had asked me binary fission and multiple fission. Am I right? I hope I remember it right. Is it that? Yes, Swadha, very good. Yes. Otherwise, I'll have to scroll back and check. What is it? Multiple. Thank you. Now, for those of you who are confused about this, see, I am taking all the questions for which I don't have any questions to support me, right? That's why I'm explaining these things. Binary fission is when there is a single parent, right? And we see that this will split into two, right? So you will get two offsprings at the end of it. Now, multiple fission is a special kind of fission that we normally observe sometimes during unfavorable conditions, right? So like in the case of Plasmodium, what will happen is we see that the nucleus will undergo division, okay? And there'll be many nuclei inside, okay? But they'll all be enclosed within a cyst, okay? Now, these normally happen in unfavorable conditions and there'll be little cytoplasm surrounding it. Now, what will happen is when the conditions become favorable, this will break. That means at the end of it, what are you getting? You are getting multiple offsprings, right? More than two. So this can be more than two, which is why we call this as multiple fission. So splitting here giving rise to multiple offsprings. Binary means single giving rise to two offsprings. Binary means two, multiple means many. So are we clear? Yes, are we clear with this? Very good, Prachi, very good. Now, Korean girl, Aisha and Korean boy, many of you are losing, focus. So I need you to stay focused, right? Otherwise, you will get blocked and I do not want that for all of you. Yes. Now, I had another question. Fission and fragmentation. Thank you. Yes, y'all are all wonderful. You keep reminding me. And you should also, okay? Never hesitate to ask me things. Never hesitate to ask me doubts. If I have the answer, I will tell you. If I don't know the answer, I will come clean. I'll tell you, Ma, I don't remember it right now. I'll come back to you. Okay? I always tell you that. Now, fission, as we know, is when we have a single parent, right? So, we see that the single parent will split, okay? Will split into two, giving rise to two offsprings. So fission means splitting. So we have a single parent undergoing certain processes, giving rise to two offsprings. Fragmentation, on the other hand, is when the single parent, okay, so again we have a single parent, like how Abhinav is telling me in, Spirogyra, it will break or it will be cut into many fragments, right? So they will be cut into many fragments. Now observe, there is no fragments in this case, right? So here what do we observe? We see that there are multiple fragments, right? And we see that each fragment will grow. Each fragment will grow into a new organism, right? So that is what we mean by fragmentation. Yes. Now I also saw vlogging. I think, let me just quickly check. That is a very vlogging and gaming. Yes, nothing is left of the parent in multiple fission. That's a very important pointer. But in binary fission also, at the end of the day, you don't find the parent. No, the parent in itself has split into two, right? That's something about, what do you say? That is something about asexual reproduction. In the case of fission especially, we see that parent is there. Ma'am, shouldn't it be two or more since multiple fission? Yeah, you will get two or more only. I said greater than two, right? You can get multiple, two or more. Yes? Alright, so are we clear with this, everybody? Are we clear? Let me quickly just refresh this on my screen. What are the disadvantages? Disadvantages of asexual reproduction is the fact that there are no variations, right? So on a broader run, we see that because there are not enough variations, we see that sometimes they might not be able to survive. So in the case of bacteria and all, we are able to use certain chemicals, or most often than not, we see that they are not able to adapt as fast when compared to sexual reproduction, right? Those variations that are there are not enough. Sometimes it is not very good for them. But nonetheless, with microorganisms and them doing asexual reproduction, it's altogether a different ball game, because as much as we say that they don't have enough variations, because of the fact that sometimes due to DNA copying error, the variation can arise in asexual reproduction also. Yes? Okay. Alright, everybody. So I think now let's move on to the next set of questions. We will move on to question number 7. Okay? Can we move on to question number 7? Are we clear so far? Are we clear? Yes. So for those of you who want to take screenshot, no, please tell me, ma'am, I want screenshot. I will help you. Yes, Abhinav. It is. Yeah. Okay. Now here's another question, easy question. Would a planaria cut vertically into two halves regenerate into two individuals? Complete the given diagram D and E by indicating the regenerated regions. First and foremost, would a planaria cut vertically into two halves regenerate into two individuals? Yes or no? In the chat, very quickly. Yes? Will it regenerate? Let's think about whether planaria has the ability to regenerate or no. Think about it in that way. It is vertically cut into two. Now this is not a very ideal condition for planaria. No, this is something unfavorable for it. It's been sliced into half. Yes. So in this case, for those of you who are confused, we see that planaria can regenerate, right? The nucleus, see, I understand where you are coming from. Ma'am, organism is split into half, right? Body is tukda. How is an organism which is half splitting into two, right? How the hell is it doing it? The answer is very simple. Now, when for an organism like planaria, which has a very simple body organization, right? Understand this. It has a very simple body organization. So don't think planaria has a complicated, digestive system, heart and everything like this. It has a very simple body organization, which means that when the planaria is split into half, we observe that this is unfavorable for the planaria, right? And we know that during unfavorable conditions, organisms will regenerate like planaria. So in this case, what will happen? In the case of D and E, we see that the planaria will regenerate, right? And it will grow into a new organism. So at the end of the day, we are going to get two planaria organisms like this. So whatever part is missing, it will regenerate that, okay? Yes, all right. So now moving on, does regeneration happen? Yes, it happens, right? And you also need to draw the completed part. So you will have to do 2 of this. So you will get 1 mark each. Are we clear? 1 mark for writing that yes, they will regenerate and this is how they would look like. Are we clear? I think some of you got lost in the chat. So can we check? Okay. Lot of you people stay focused, otherwise you will be timed out. I don't want that to happen and you will have a genuine doubt to ask me and you will not be able to do. Please remove timeout for Chota Beam. Yes, so now you know, no, don't spam, otherwise gone. You will guys will be timed out. Our moderators have become very strict from now. Yes, clear, clear, clear. Amazing. Now let's move on to the next one. Ma'am, is regeneration considered as a mode of asexual reproduction? See, in the case of planaria, at this case, they need to survive, right? Now, at this point, we see that, you know, what happens? We see that it is a kind of reproduction. It is a kind of reproduction what we normally observe in unfavorable conditions, okay? But for planaria, yes, maybe. But in the case of a lizard or in the case of our body, we cannot say that, no? Because in our body, we know our liver regenerates. Lizard ka tail can regenerate. But when the tail regenerates or the starfish's arm regenerates, a new organism is not really formed. An existing organism's part is getting reformed. So you cannot technically consider it as a type of reproduction. Maybe in some organisms. But technically, no, you can't say that. Okay? Yes, very good. After, ma'am, does the tail of the... I don't know actually, Yash. I've never seen it with my eyes, you know. I've read about it a lot, but I've never really seen it if a lizard's tail gets cut. I wouldn't want it also to hurt itself, right? Fragment, this only. In the case, right, regeneration cannot really be considered as a type of reproduction. Fragmentation is a mode of reproduction. That is the main difference. So are we clear? Yes, thank you Abhinav for telling all your friends about that, because I'll miss all your doubts. Then later you will come and you will tell me in the comment section, ma'am, aapne doubts clear nahi kiya, aapne ye question miss kiya. So I don't want that, right? Yes. Oh, I don't want to hurt the lizard. Fragmentation and regeneration. I am very confused. No problem. I will explain it. Okay, let's have a look at fragmentation, right? Now in fragmentation, what happens? Let's look at Spirogyra. Okay, Spirogyra, I'm just drawing for the sake of it, okay? Now for Spirogyra, what happens is that if you take and this parent body becomes into fragments, we see that you will get 3 fragments. 1, 2, and 3. Yes? Now each of it is going to grow into a new Spirogyra. So each fragment is now giving rise to new organisms. And this is something, condition is favorable, also Spirogyra will do this. Yes? But on the other hand, when we look at something like planaria, right? Now planaria's body is getting cut into half. Not a very favorable thing for the organism. Now in order to survive, we see that the part which has been lost, right? Understand, the part which has been lost will regenerate, okay? So they have lost a part. You take a liver, you take the lizard's tail, or you take the starfish's arm, a part of it has been lost, right? Which is why in this case, we see that this is what we mean by regeneration, which is not a kind of reproduction, I would say. You cannot technically say that in favorable conditions also regeneration would take place, right? So are we clear with the difference between the two? Are we clear with regeneration and fragmentation? Because regeneration versus fragmentation is a very important point of difference that you can get in your board exams. Okay? And I think we have a question based on that later on also. Yes. Now moving on to the next one. Okay? And thank you, Neo. Please tell me your name, right? Okay. Now let's say focused, and for those of you who want me to explain once again, I will definitely help you, right? I'll do it once again. Is simple and fragmentation? No, don't say that. Would be digressing the actual concept. So I now don't say that. Don't say regeneration is simple and fragmentation is complex. Don't say that. We can say that offsprings are naturally formed. In this case, only the regenerated part is there. I would say you can avoid that point altogether. Yes? Okay. Now, of course, moving on. from the internet. Okay, so this kind of question will not come in board exam where they ask you from the internet you get answers. Okay, you will not get that. Probably the data will already be given to you and then they will ask you to solve this, right? So now of course, now they are asking us, so from the data that is there of from the internet, gather some information about chromosome numbers of 5 animals and 5 plants, right? Now correlate the number with the size of the organism and answer the question. And you have 3 questions. In your board exam, what will you get? This data will already be provided to you. So here I have the data with me, okay, on your screens, 5 animals and 5 plants. I hope you are able to see. Yes? So now in this case, we see that we have man, cat, horse, rabbit, elephant, corn, cotton, garden pea, mango, and their chromosome numbers are given to us. Now based on this, right, can you tell me what will you get? Ma'am, this type of question will come in board. They will not give you this kind of question. They will give you a question where this is already given to you. Okay, if at all it comes in board exam, nobody will say go and use internet. They will give you this. They will give you one table and then they will ask you to do it, right? They will ask you to solve the question based on the table. Okay? Yes, Pinky, tell me which part you need me to explain in Hindi. I'll explain that part. Alright. Now, do larger organisms have more number of chromosomes or cells? Yes or no? What do you think is the answer? So we have man, cat, horse, rabbit, elephant, mango, plant and all of that. Do large organisms have more number of chromosomes more number of chromosomes? Yes? Do they have more? So let's have a look. We have elephant, which is a very big organism that has 56 chromosomes, right? While here you have horse, which is smaller than the elephant, which has only 64. Okay? You have mango tree, very big mango tree, right? 40 chromosomes. So can we say that larger the organism, more number of chromosomes? Can we say that? No, we cannot say that. No, because from this only, we see that it's different. So no, larger organisms. So there is no relationship between number of chromosomes and the size of the thing. Same thing we have learned. No, size of organism and size of cell has no correlation, right? So that's something you need to understand. Next. Can an organism with fewer chromosomes reproduce easily than organisms with more number of chromosomes? Do you think so? Can they reproduce easily? Same, you take these 3 examples. Horse, elephant, rabbit. All of them are sexually reproducing organisms, right? Does it mean that, oh, this is easy for them, it's tough? No. If it is a sexually reproducing organism, it will be more or less the same. Processes might vary, but at the end of the day, there's no relationship with that, right? Number, there's no relationship. Yes? So we see that there is no, we see that it's not like fewer chromosomes, they'll reproduce more easily, right? Okay, I'll explain why the first answer is no. And last but not the least, more number of chromosomes, greater the DNA content. Yes or no? What is the last one? Yes? Everyone, please stop spamming in the chat, otherwise you will get blocked and we don't want that. Yes, Ishita, Anirudh, very good. Yes, more number of chromosomes means greater the content. I mean greater the DNA content, right? So you know, right, if there is more what are chromosomes at the end of the day? They're nothing but highly coiled DNA, right? And if there's more amount of DNA, then you will find more amount of chromosomes. Yes? So I will repeat this whole thing once again. Yes, I'll repeat it. Now, you are given some animals and plants with their number of chromosomes, right? And I need you all to stay focused. Yes, stay focused in this part, right? I need you to stay focused. I will repeat 1, 2 and 3 once again, okay? Look at what I have highlighted. I have highlighted horse. Just give me a moment. I'll use another color. I have highlighted horse, I have highlighted elephant and I have highlighted mango. Now horse has 64 chromosomes, elephant has 55, mango has 40. Yes? Now the first question is, do larger the organism? Okay, compare it. Compare a horse versus an elephant. Okay, just based on the data given they are asking. Does larger the organism means more number of chromosomes? From this very clearly we understand that agar organism large hota hai, right, doesn't mean that more chromosomes hai usme. does not mean that. Chromosome number has more to do with quantity of DNA, right? It does not have to do with size of the organism. So that is something you need to understand. Similarly, looking at point number 2. Can an organism with fewer chromosomes reproduce more easily than an organism with more number of chromosomes? So let's take an example. Fewer chromosomes here is garden pea, okay? Garden pea has 14 chromosomes, onion has 16, okay? And you have elephant which has 56. Now garden pea here can exhibit sexual reproduction. Elephant can also exhibit sexual reproduction. Does it mean that for garden pea it is easier? Or let it be, take amongst the animals only. Take a cat and an elephant. Sexually reproducing organisms at the end of the day are able to do whatever they're able to do only because of the process, right? It's not because, oh, for the cat it might be an easier process, or maybe for the elephant it is a tougher process. Whether reproduction is going to be complicated or a simple process depends upon the complexity of the body, okay? Compare your elephant with a bacteria. Then that is a fair comparison. Not with the set of animals that are there, right? So that is something you need to understand. So ये second point मैं एक और बार ओम के लिए मैं repeat करती हूँ. See, जब हम organisms के बारे में बता रहे हैं, और especially in this question it is with respect to ये organisms, right? So in organisms में अगर आप देखोगे, all of them are sexually reproducing organisms. The way in which reproduction takes place depends. जो process of reproduction होता है वो body के complexity के साथ होता है. अगर हम एक यूनिसेल्युलर ऑर्गेनिज्म को लेते हैं जैसे अमीबा को, वो एक सिंगल सेल ऑर्गेनिज्म है. वो जब एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन होता है वो बहुत ही उनके लिए एक सिंप्लीफाइड प्रोसेस है. इनमें से जो सब सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन करते हैं, क्रोमोसोम का नंबर वेरिएशन से कुछ नहीं होगा, वो सब रिप्रोडक्शन करते हैं, राइट? सो दैट इज समथिंग यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. आर वी क्लियर विद द सेकंड क्वेश्चन? Muzmil Khan, I hope now you are able to follow what I am saying. Are we clear with this? It is not related. That is the end of the answer. It is not related. It is not related is the answer. Okay. Don't get confused. And yes, Abhinav, ask me. At the end of the day, we know that why more number of chromosomes or less number of chromosomes are there, that is with respect to the DNA content that is there. Yes, so when we talk about ecological niche, right, it is very, ecological niche is with respect to a specific, like a small criteria that is there, right? That is what we mean by niche, right? Yes, I don't want to go into niche because see, that is in our environment. No, that is why, I don't want to digress from the topic. When we do our environment, we will do it in detail. Yes? Yes, Om, our chat moderator is on it. Don't worry, he will be doing it. Look into the people who are digressing from the thing and let's have them timed out. Okay? Ma'am, do you know any reason as to why mango has more chromosomes than us? 40. We have 46, no? It says 40 here. Ma'am, explain C. C. What are chromosomes? Chromosomes that are there are nothing but... Yes. So chromosomes that are there are nothing but, it is nothing but highly coiled DNA, right? So it's highly coiled DNA that is there. Now at the end of the day, if you see, right, more number of chromosomes that are there is with respect to the fact that there is more DNA and of course the proteins, respective proteins. Which is why at the end of the day, we see that in this case, we see that we are able to justify it in this manner, okay? So this is the answer to the question with all the three parts. So first part is no, there is no relationship between size of an organism and chromosome number. No process of reproduction follows a common pattern and it is not dependent on the number of chromosomes, right? And at the end of the day, we know that DNA is the major component in chromosome, which is why we know that quantity of DNA is equivalent, right? Yes, all right. Now let's move on to the next one. Yes? In the tobacco plant, the male gametes have 24 chromosomes. What is the number of chromosomes in the female gamete? And what is the number of chromosomes in the zygote? Can you quickly give me the answer to this? Yes? Can you quickly give me the answer to this in the chat? I'll just be back in one moment, okay? Okay. I just went to get my water bottle. Yes, very good everybody. Very, very good. I can see the answers coming in. Chota Beam, even if the niche is mentioned in this chapter, it is with respect to the ecological niche only, most likely. Because I don't remember in the chapter, I mean, suddenly the chapter, I'm not able to think of it, but I'll get back to you anyway on it. Don't worry, okay? 24 plus 24. Okay, so we have male gamete. They are saying is 24. I think I have the next slide for this. Yeah. So what is given to us? Male gamete has 24 chromosomes. So how many will be there in the female gamete? Exactly the same, right? So female gamete will have 24 chromosomes. Yes? And of course, at the end of the day, when there is the number of chromosomes in zygote. So zygote is formed as a result of fusion of male gamete and female gamete, which is why there will be 48. Which is why the answer here is 24 in female gamete and in zygote it is 48. Very simple and easy. Yes? So now of course very quickly, right? I know some of you are asking me, ma'am, about chromatin that is there. So when we talk about the chromatin material, so did you ask me chromatin or chromatid, right? What was it that you asked me? Somebody told me, ma'am, I forgot my question. Arya, Korean boy, Korean girl, all of you out there, please stay focused, okay? I'm very strictly telling you at this point. I normally I'm not very stern in class. I'm always, entertaining you guys. But I want you to stay focused, yes? Chromatin, yes, chromatin material is nothing but the thread-like structures that are there. So when it is in the thread-like form inside the nucleus, right, that's when we say it is chromatin or chromatin material. But when it gets condensed highly, it forms chromosomes. Yes? Very good, very good. Now stay attentive in class, okay? Now let's move on to question number 10. Very good. I'll tell you, Anirudh, don't worry. Question number 10, we have 20 more questions to do. Why cannot fertilization take place in flowers if pollination does not occur? Very easy question, right? 1 mark, maximum 2 marks you will get. Screen is blurred. Please make sure that you, change the settings. Thank you, Abhinav, for this. Now I have the names. Abhinav is like the class monitor here. Okay. Yes, so Abhinav is now class monitor who's going to be telling me, okay. Very good. Yes, if you are focusing, I am proud of you. Ma'am, they contain germ cells. Okay. If pollination does not occur, focus on the fact of pollination. Pollen grains will not reach stigma without pollination. And if that does not happen, male and female fusion will not take place. Very good. Yes, fusion will not take place. And as a result, if that happens, fusion will not happen. If fusion does not happen, we know that at the end of the day, we know that, fruit formation will not happen. Yes? Okay, very good, very good. So the answer is very simple. Pollination is the process by which, so start by defining it, okay? Pollination is nothing but the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. If pollination does not happen, then we know that the male gamete will not reach the female gamete. And if male and female gametes are not able to meet at the end of the day, then fusion will not happen. Very simple and easy. Very good. So pollination is a process. Start with the definition, right? And then go into saying that in a flower, fertilization requires both male and female gametes. And if no pollination happens, then no fusion will take place, right? And as a result, fertilization will not happen. Very good. Now moving on to question number 11 on your screens. Is chromosome number of zygote, pay attention, embryonal cells, okay? Embryonal cells and of an adult, right? And of an adult of a particular organism always constant. So first part is a yes or no answer. Second thing is how is the constancy maintained in all the 3 stages. Focus, zygote, embryonal cells, which is nothing but embryo, and then adult. Yes or no? I know I had that whole vibe of KBC. Very good, very good. Yes, all right. Yes, very good everybody, very good. So answer is yes, and it happens because of mitosis, right? So we know that mitotic division is also known as equational division, right? So we know that in equational division, when one single cell undergoes mitotic division, the daughter cell will also have the same number of chromosomes, or the number of chromosomes are always maintained, right? So the answer is yes. In zygote, embryo, and in an adult, the chromosome number is maintained. How is it maintained? By mitotic division. So you just need to answer these two. This will not come for 3 marks. This will come for 2 marks only, because you have only 2 pointers. You write one of each of it. You will get 2 out of 2 marks. Happy face, right? Easy peasy, right? So at question number 15, we will take like a 2-minute break just to, compose ourselves and take a breath, right? So we have 4 more questions to reach there, and we will take like a small break there, right? Oh, this is so easy. 1 mark question here. Where is the zygote of a flower located after fertilization? Yes? Where is the zygote located? That's awesome, Om. That is awesome. This is very easy. 1 mark. In the ovary of what is also something you have to specify. Okay? Very good, very good. The answer is very simple, right? So the zygote is located inside the ovary or the ovule, which is inside the ovary, right? So zygote is inside the ovule, because fertilization is happening inside that embryo sac, right? So it is inside the ovule of the ovary, okay? Not ovary and pistil, yes? So that's something you need to know. So in this case, the answer is it is located inside the ovule, which is present inside the ovary. Okay, very simple and easy. Not come for 2 marks, 1 mark maximum. Half mark for writing this, half mark for writing this. Okay. Now moving on to the next one. This is a little bit tricky. Okay, I will tell you this is not a little easy question. Question number 13 is a little tricky one. If you get this in your exam, no, and chances are that you might, because now the subjective questions in boards don't look very direct, right? They're not directly asking you define reproduction, why reproduction is important. So I need you to stay focused on this question, everyone. On your screens, I need you to stay focused. Yes? Very good. Now, reproduction is linked to stability of population of species, right? So now you need to justify this statement, right? So how do we feel? Ma'am, I feel it's from a paragraph in the textbook. Exactly, right? It is from a paragraph, and chances are that you might get this in your exam also. I feel like this time this question might come, okay? So reproduction is linked to stability of population of species. You need to justify this. So can you tell me what do you think is going to be the answer? Yes, yes, please ask me your doubts. Okay. Because if variation cannot happen, okay, they may not be able to exist, fine. What else? Yes, Mohammed, please ask me your doubts. Please do go ahead and ask me your doubts. I am waiting for you to try to answer this, okay, because I know that it is not easy. Ma'am, samajh mein nahi aa gaya. So they're saying that if a population, right? Imagine we have a population of some organism X, okay? Stability, that means over a period of time, if this organism is able to survive in the world, it's because of reproduction. Now, why is reproduction the reason why it is surviving? That is something you need to understand. Variation is important, okay, very good. There's something else to it. There are 2 points. Death and birth are maintained at par, very nice. Yes? Yes, Mohammed, please ask me your doubts. Very good. So there are 2 aspects to this. Aapko nahi aaya, koi nahi, main batati hu, right? Now there are 2 aspects to this. So the first one, like you told me, right? Because the old will pass, and it ensures continuity of generation. Very good, Yash. Very important pointer. Every organism faces a lot of competition as well. Very good. So every organism faces competition, right? So we know that organisms at all times, so especially in the case of, animals or heterotrophic organisms, one is feeding on the other, right? So if an organism, let's say if this deer decides or does not reproduce, over a time, if these organisms are going to attack it, then we know that if it does not reproduce, it can no longer survive, right? So that is point number 1. A lot of organisms face competition for food, and reproduction ensures survival, right? Survival and continuity of the species for a long period of time, right? And if it does not do it, it will get extinct. Yes. But now on the other hand, there's also another aspect which is at a genetic level, right? So what is there at a genetic level? We know that when one organism is reproducing, right? So from one generation to the next generation, when an offspring is made, we know that copying of DNA is also taking place. So how is it that the organism is continuing over and over? Apart from, surviving and ensuring its survival, at a genetic level also, this copying mechanism is maintaining consistency, right? So from one level or from one generation to the other, the copying mechanism is taking place, which also ensures consistency for survival, right? So that is also another aspect. Yes, reproduction leads to formation, right? And this is necessary. Very good. At this rate, so with this, what do you understand? In reproduction, DNA passes on from one generation to the next. Copying of DNA takes place with consistency and of course leads to minor variations, and this is necessary for the stability of species. And we know that this reproduction process ensures continuity as well, right? So it ensures continuity of species. Yes? So are we clear with this? Competition and predation can affect a population, right? Yes. Mohammed, you kept asking me, ma'am, please listen to me, please listen to me. Can you please tell me what you wanted to tell me about, right? Because I don't want you all to feel like I am not listening to you, because you know I do, no? Yes, okay. Hello, Rina. Hello. Yes, Darwin's law, exactly. Okay. Yes, Joseph. All of you keep telling me, ma'am, but don't worry, I'm here for you. That's amazing, Rina. So please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, okay? Ma'am, is my answer correct? Chota Bhim, I think I missed your answer. Can you send it once again? Can you please send it to me? I think I've missed it. Or let me check in my phone. I think I have missed your answer. Can you send it? Yes. Leading to increase in the number of organisms in a species, while some organisms die at the same time, nullifying increasing population. Okay. Don't say nullifying, because if you say nullifying, no, it's not always that birth is equal to death, right? It is never that birth is equal to death. Sometimes off late, of course, more number of births will happen. So at any given point, you cannot say birth is equal to death. But what you can say is that death is an inevitable part of life. That means that reproduction ensures that at no point if an organism dies, does not mean that there's not another organism to continue the species. So that is something you'll have to write, okay? And for those of you who are very new to my class, who are just joining my class, welcome. I'm Aishwarya. I mainly teach biology and I help you out with SST as well. So please make sure that you like this video and you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to do that. Yes? Now after question number 15, we are going to take a 2-minute water break and then we will continue. So 2 more questions. These 2 are very easy, okay? How is general growth and sexual maturation different from each other? 2 marks for this. 1, you have to tell me what is general growth and sexual maturation, and then tell me what is different about this. This has more to do with your understanding of adolescence, right? Oh, that's amazing. You've come from grade 6. That is awesome. Mohammed, wait. I think you have asked me what is it? Yes. Okay. That is nothing but the male external genitalia. Okay. All right. Growth of secondary sexual organs. Okay, very good. General growth is height, cracking of voice. Very good. Secondary sexual characteristics and development of sexual organs can be suggested as general sexual maturation. So in this case, when you talk about general growth, right, what is general growth? General growth is nothing but the growth and development of the body, right? So increase in height, change in voice, all that you told me, very good. It is a normal growth that occurs. Reproductive maturity or sexual maturation is maturity of the reproductive organs, or what you could also say is that sexual maturation is for attaining that sexual maturity, like you have told me, right? Very good, Aditi, very good. Ma'am, what is the importance of DNA copying in reproduction? See, DNA copying is essential because if you want an offspring to be produced, it should have the genetic information, right? And it should have all the information from the parent. So you cannot give the existing DNA to the offspring and say, okay, now you go. No, right? A copy of that information needs to be made so that the offspring can be produced. Which is why DNA copying is essential, because the copying of the DNA or a copy of the DNA what goes to the offspring. Yes? All right, very good. So with this, of course, if you see, general growth includes increase in height, widening of hips, and change in body size. Sexual maturity more has to do, like how you have told me, is important for the sexual development of organs such as pubic hair growth, breast development in females, and the development of the sexual organs, right? So you just need to write this. First point of difference, right? First point of difference is general growth is all about growth in size and the development of the body. Sexual maturation is about achieving the ability to reproduce. General growth includes height, weight gain, changes in shape and all of that. But sexual maturation that is there includes, of course, new hair patterns, development of breasts and so on. Okay? Yes, you've learned it in 8th grade. Now, I saw some of you were telling me, yes, Chota Beam, yes, your answer is correct. Sexual maturation or secondary, don't say secondary maturation, sexual maturation, right? So, be specific to the answer. हिंदी में मैं एक और बार ये बोलूंगी, जनरल ग्रोथ जो होता है वो जेनेरिक, राइट, और वो ओवरऑल बॉडी का ग्रोथ और डेवलपमेंट के बारे में हम बोलते हैं, जैसे इंक्रीज इन हाइट, चेंज इन बॉडी शेप, वो सब. जब हम सेक्सुअल मैच्योरेशन के बारे में बोलते हैं, वो उस टाइप ऑफ ग्रोथ और या डेवलपमेंट होते हैं जो सेक्सुअल ऑर्गन्स के पर्टेनिंग है. सो जैसे इन द केस ऑफ सेक्सुअल मैच्योरेशन, इट इज अबाउट द एबिलिटी, वो जो एबिलिटी है जो इंडिविजुअल्स को रिप्रोड्यूस करने में अलाउ करता है, राइट, इट्स अटेनिंग दैट रिप्रोडक्टिव मैच्योरिटी. सो सेक्सुअल मैच्योरेशन में जो चेंजेस हम ऑब्जर्व करते हैं वो है डेवलपमेंट ऑफ सेक्सुअल ऑर्गन्स, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ मैमरी ग्लैंड्स इन फीमेल्स एंड सो ऑन. ओके, ऑल राइट. So are we clear, everybody? Are we clear? Ma'am, adolescence and puberty. Puberty is that time period where an individual, so puberty is like a time period wherein an individual attains sexual or reproductive maturity, right? So this is what we mean by puberty, and which is why we normally say an individual will hit puberty between 10 to 12 years, right, or 10 to 13 years, and this is going to be there. While on the other hand, when we talk about adolescence, we see that adolescence is nothing but the whole time period. Okay, so it is the whole time period between childhood and adulthood, right, wherein the body will attain complete sexual maturity at the end of it. So we see that this starts between 10 to 12 years and adolescence goes on till 19 years of age, right? Which is why we also call this as teenage. Very good, very good. So now let's move on. So now I hope we've understood this. Yes? Now let's move on to the next question, after which, Aditi, I will answer your question. Okay? Now moving on. Trace the path of sperm during ejaculation and mention the glands and their function which is associated with the reproductive system. Yes? Very quickly, trace the path of sperms during ejaculation. That means during release of sperms from the external genitalia. What is the path? All you need to do is to give me a simple flow chart, right? First one, you need to tell me where does it start. It is not just one part, okay? It's all parts. Okay. I think a lot of other conversations are not happening because everybody is focusing on class. Yes? Yes, everybody. How does it start? Ma'am, I forgot. No problem. They are produced in the testes. Exactly. So it is produced in the testes. And from here, where will it go? Very good, Varsha. It goes to the epididymis. Right? Now, in the epididymis, it is briefly stored and then it will go to the vas deferens, or what we call as the sperm duct, right? So, this is also known as the sperm duct. And once it goes to through the sperm duct, it will loop over into the, loop over through the urinary bladder, and then it will enter, right? And of course, there are ejaculatory ducts which will of course pour in the secretion. And at this point, it will receive secretions from the seminal vesicle, right? From the seminal vesicle, from the prostate gland, and from the Cowper's gland, right? And then from here, what will happen is they will go, or it will be entering into the urethra, and through the penis, it will be expelled out, right? Yes, very good. The accessory glands that are there. Yeah, Mana, stay focused. So this is again very, very important. So from here, it will loop over, it will come, and it will enter in through, and it will be released out, right? Cowper's gland is also nothing but the bulbourethral gland. Now you also need to write about the function that is there, right? You need to write about the functions of the accessory glands. So in the case of prostate, as you know, prostate provides an alkaline medium, right? And we know that of course the seminal vesicle also adds to it. And we know that Cowper's gland, or the bulbourethral gland that is there, is provides lubrication, right? So it provides lubrication to it. Stay focused, don't spam, otherwise you will be timed out, Manas. So very quickly, are we clear with this? No, you don't need to know how to draw it. Mainly they'll ask you diagram based questions, okay? Yes, all right. So with this, of course, we will take a quick 15-minute break. I mean, not 15 minutes, sorry, 5-minute break. Drink some water, take some rest, and we'll be back, okay? No, it can affect the males also. HIV can affect males also. Yes, lubricant is like, what do you say, how you add a lubricant to a car for it to work better. No, that is what we call by it. Yes? Okay, just we'll take 2 minutes. Not a problem. 5 minutes we will take and we will come back. Drink some water, freshen up. The rest of it will become, the rest of the questions will become easy. Yes? I'll be back in 2 minutes. So everyone, I'm just going to give you, they will mute me now for maybe the next 2-3 more minutes. 8:26 we will start, okay? 8:26 we'll be starting. So we are back. I hope all of you are feeling refreshed after that quick 5-minute break. I did not want to keep talking in that 5 minutes also. That's why my team had muted me, took me out of the screen, right? Yes. Ma'am, I request you to wait for at least 1 minute to answer. Definitely. I will wait, okay? But how are you feeling? I hope you've drank some water, walked around a little, refreshed, right? Move your hands up and down because I know we've had quite a bit of a long class and we have good number of questions to go as well. So don't worry everyone, we'll wind this up quickly, but I want you to stay focused because like I told you, by the end of this session, I'm 100% sure that you will be confident about this chapter, right? Yes. Okay. So are we ready everyone? Are we ready? Quick Josh level check. Have we all fallen asleep in between? I hope not. Right, quick Josh level check on the chat and we're going to get started. Yes? Okay. See, my Josh has become double, triple and I have come back. Hello Vanshu. Okay. Rahul is like, Vanshu, I am here. Yes, all right. And for those of you who might be telling me, ma'am, dinner kahna hai, I don't mind if you are eating dinner and watching my session also, not a problem. I will never say watch my session and then go have dinner. I never say that, no? Hello, all right. Yes, very good, Aina, very good. So let's quickly go ahead and have a look at this, right? So what changes are observed in the uterus if fertilization does not occur? So you need to list down the changes that we would observe, right? And there are two changes that are there. So here very quickly, I want all of you to tell me the answer to this. Then I will go ahead and I will tell the answer. Yes? So I will give you some time and you can tell me. Okay. Very good. Lining of the blood starts shedding. So lining of the blood again, Chota Bhim, I will tell you, it's a little vague. So you can be a little more, right? You can, what do you say? You can write a little more in detail. Uterine muscles start to bleed, okay? Uterine wall loses thickening, okay? Yash will not say uterine muscles, okay? Because if the muscles start to bleed, that will be a, what do you say? There is a thickening in the endometrium, no? So the inner lining, see, that's what you will have to say. So the inner lining of the uterus, we know that because when you say uterine muscles, it becomes very vague, which is why we have to be specific when we are saying that. So an easier way to say is inner lining of the uterus or inner lining of the uterine wall will have depositions of blood and mucus, right? And we know that if fertilization does not happen, this inner lining of blood and mucus will be shed off, right? So we see that this will be shed off. Now, do you think it is only blood and mucus or is there one more thing which is released? Very quickly, there should be one more thing that we need to add to this, right? Spongy and lining, yes, very good. Ma'am, once read my answer. Varsha, let me go back, I will read your answer. As the egg is not fertilized, the thick lining of the uterus is broken down and comes out through the vagina along with the unfertilized. Very good, yes. You will have to mention that it is the unfertilized egg. Very good, Varsha, very good. So you will have to mention this, okay? So when you are writing this off, we know that the shedding of the inner lining of the uterus, inner lining of the uterus which has deposition of blood and mucus, along with the unfertilized egg through the vagina is what we call as menstruation. And this happens when there is no fertilization, right? So this right here is the correct answer. So the thick spongy lining or the thick inner lining also you can write down, I don't mind. So you can just say inner lining also, not a problem, right? Along with the unfertilized egg slowly breaks down, or you can say is slowly shed off through the vagina, right? And we know that this inner lining consists of blood and mucus. And this happens when there is no fertilization. And this process is what we call as menstruation, right? Yes, okay. Who has told me, ma'am, read my comment? I'm not able to find your comment. Ma'am, please make a video on coordination. Control coordination ka video I have already made. You can check it out in the channel. Okay, it is already there. I have only taken the one shot. Ankita ma'am has also taken one shot. Ma'am, why fertilization takes place in fallopian tube? Because that's how it has been designed, right? So in the fallopian tube, we see that it swims all the way up. And again, conditions are very ideal for fertilization to take place. Yes? Okay. Now moving on to the next one. What changes are observed again? Potato, potato kind of question, right? What changes are observed in the uterus subsequent or close to implantation of the young embryo? What changes do we observe in the uterus when the embryo subsequent, so once implantation has happened, what do we observe? Yes, Varsha, please do tell me. Please do tell me. I want you to answer first and then I will tell you the answer to this, right? So we're saying subsequent to implantation. Placenta, oh, very good guys, very good. Placenta development. Lakshit, you can go have something, I will tell you. Yes, okay, no problem. I mean, if you're hungry, I understand. It's okay, it happens. Placental development, what about the others? What do you think is going to be the answer? Lining thickens, okay. Lining, some of you are saying lining thickens. What else? What else? I need the answers coming in. All right. But I'm saying I wouldn't mind Lakshit. That's what I'm saying. I am okay with it. Very good. Villi on one side of the embryo. Placenta will join. Hips become wider. Okay. See, this is again a short answer. Maybe 2 marks or maximum 3 marks, right? Yes. So in this case, when you are writing the answer to this, let me just go on to the next slide. We are talking about what happens post the development, right? So we're saying what happens post implantation. That means that inner lining of the uterus has already thickened with blood vessels. Now the embryo that has there has gotten implanted. Now, once it has gotten implanted, what will happen? We know that, of course, the uterine lining is already thickened to support the embryo. Yes? This will be followed by development of placenta, right? And we know that placenta is a disc-like tissue which is necessary and helps with, transport of nutrients and oxygen from mother to baby, carries all the waste material that is there. Yes, Yash, you are right. It is placenta and umbilical cord. Very good. So, umbilical cord is a tube-like structure that connects mother to baby, right? Umbilical cord is a tube-like structure. Manu, wait, let me go back. Yash, which question did I not answer, please? Let me check. The chat is moving a little fast. Okay. Placenta form villi towards embryo, creating a large surface area. Very good. Yes. Very good, Yash. Very good, Varsha. Very good. Manju, I am not able to find your answer in my chat for some reason. Can you send it to me once again? Yes. Placenta is the disc-like tissue which is formed, right? Wherein we know that there are these villi-like structures that are there and we know that it helps in transport. Now, this tissue needs to be connected so that it is their mother, placenta, and you have a tissue, right? So I will show you this. Let me go to another question. So here if you see, this is your placenta, right? This is the answer to something else, but still. This is your placenta and we see that it is connected. So here we know that this is the umbilical cord, right? So we see that this right here is the umbilical cord that connects the child to the placenta, which in turn connects to the baby, right? So it acts as a, connection. What are fimbriae? Fimbriae are structures on the female reproductive system, right? So in the case of a female reproductive system, we see that there are these structures known as fimbriae, these finger-like projections, which we find near the ovary, through which we know that it will then, like the egg once released, will move into the this one. Umbilical cord. Umbilical cord is a cord. It's a structure wherein the placenta is connected to baby, right? So it's connected through the umbilical cord, which is why when the baby is delivered, right, or when a baby is born, the umbilical cord is cut. And the point where the umbilical cord is cut is where our belly button is. Yes, so we have all of us have a belly button, no? That belly button is the point at which the umbilical cord is connected to the mother. Yes? Ma'am, is this portion important for exam? About placenta, it is very important. They will ask you, okay? Doctors cut. Yes, Aditi, they cut it during delivery. So, on placenta, you need to know its functions mainly for exam, right? So, what are the changes we observe? Uterine lining will thicken to support the embryo so that implantation can take place and placental development will happen, right? And we know that it connects the embryo to the uterine wall. What does umbilical cord do? Connect placenta to baby. Very simple. It's not very complicated. Okay? Yes. All right. Moving on to question number 18 on your screens. Yes. What are the benefits of using mechanical barriers during the sexual act? So this is coming from contraception or reproductive health. And again, normally in board exams, if you have observed a pattern, no, most often than not, they give you one question on contraception. Yes? They normally give you a question. That's why, especially with reproductive health, I'm sure if you have watched Ankita Ma'am's class also, she spent some time teaching that, right? Because reproductive health, we've noticed that board exams normally ask 1 or 2 questions. To prevent STD, okay. Yes. Disease prevention and unwanted pregnancy, right? So mechanical barriers are devices, or they are things that are used, which, wherein we see that it acts as a physical barrier between the sperm and the egg. So it makes sure that physically the sperm and egg don't meet, right? And we know that it prevents, main 2 reasons are preventing unwanted pregnancies, prevention of, STDs, and in some cases, I mean, of course, it also helps with family planning and maternal health, right? So if it comes for 2 marks, you need to write 2 points. Prevents unwanted pregnancy and prevents sexually transmitted diseases. Yes, apart from that, very good Chota Bheem, you can write about STD, control population. Yes, all right, very good, very good. Yes, very good Josh, you've also given some examples of STDs, you can do that. Yes, Usairo, you can ask me your doubt, not a problem at all, you can ask me your doubts. Yes? All right. So now, so far, if you've been enjoying the session, you know what to do. No, please, I hope all of you have liked this video. I hope all of you have subscribed to the channel, because at the end of the day, I'm not asking much. No, I'm just telling you, you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button. That is all that you need to do. Yes? All right. Okay. Now, moving on to the next question, right? Okay. Very good, Yashi. Very, very good. This is a very easy question. Yes, Manju, correct answer. Naitik, please ask me your doubts. In the meanwhile, we'll go on to question number 90. In the figure, label the parts and mention their function, right? A, production of egg, B, site of fertilization, C, site of implantation, or D, entry of sperms. Now, in this case, or in this kind of a question, they will not ask you to draw the diagram again and label it, okay? Normally, this kind of question will come where they will say A, B, C, D and identify which is responsible for production of egg, where is the site of fertilization, site of implantation and entry of sperms. Yes? Okay. All right. But it's too long a chapter. How is that possible? This chapter is very huge because it has 4 main parts. It has introduction to reproduction. It has asexual reproduction in detail, sexual reproduction in flowers, sexual reproduction in humans, then you have reproductive health. So, this is a very big chapter actually. Production of egg, right? Part A is production of egg. Yes? So, where does production of egg happen? In ovaries. So, this right here is what you will have to mark. So, these ovoid structures that are there is the ovary. I have lost the comments on my screen. All right. Very quickly moving on, as we know, next part is site of fertilization. Yes, Ritika, I remember you, of course I do. I will definitely check it out. Don't worry. Part 2 is oviduct, right? So, site of fertilization is oviduct, right? So, this right here is oviduct. Now, next up we have site of implantation. What is site of implantation? Very quickly. Which is site of implantation? I'll tell you how this is formed in just a bit. Yes? Uterus. Exactly. So, this pear-shaped organ that you see is the uterus, which is the site of implantation. And last but not the least, entry of sperms. Where does the sperms enter through? It's a very easy one. Where do the sperms enter through? In the body, in the female body. What is 4? Yes, exactly. Not the cervix, it is the vagina, right? So, it enters through the vagina, right? Vagina is this structure here. This part right here is the cervix. So, if you answer cervix, your answer will be wrong, okay? Answer is vagina. Yes, okay, very good. Now, of course, everyone, I got a question from Naitik. How are twins formed, right? Now, twins are formed in 1 and 2 ways. Now, what happens is sometimes 2 eggs get fertilized, and when they get implanted, we see that it results in the formation of 2 babies, right? So, these are what we call as fraternal twins, right? So, that means they are different from each other. While on one way, what happens is sometimes the zygote might split into half, or when it forms into the two-cell stage, it will form two individual cells. So from a single zygote, now two cells have come out and there are two zygotes, right? And they will go implant separately. This is what normally forms identical twins, okay? Yes. क्या है ये एक क्वेश्चन है जो एग्जाम्पलर में है, जो टॉप 30 सब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस है, जिनमें से प्रोबेबल चांसेस ऑफ गेटिंग क्वेश्चंस इन योर बोर्ड एग्जाम आर हाई, राइट? Yes, very good, very good. Embryo will not give zygote, understand that, okay? Embryo will not give you zygote. Zygote will give you embryo, okay? All right. So now all you need to do is to write down the answer, half mark each, and you will get 2 marks for this. Yes? Now moving on to the next set of questions. So this will be the last easy one. Then we are going to have a little more elaborate, longer questions. What would be the ratio of chromosome number between egg and zygote? How is the sperm genetically different from the egg? Answer part 1. What is the ratio of chromosome between egg and zygote? Egg is to zygote. I need you to tell me the ratio. What is it? Very good. It is 1:2. Simply because we know egg has 23 chromosomes, zygote will have 46, which is why if you do half and half, you get 1:2, right? Very simple and easy. Now next one. How is the sperm genetically different from the egg? How is the sperm genetically different from the egg? Two different parents. Okay, we're talking about the genetic composition. Think more along the lines of chromosomes. If you see genetics, chromosomes. It has chromosomes, okay? Ma'am, I am ignored. All fast. Oh no. Aman, well done. Very proud of you. Yes, very good Yash. Very good Danya. Dikshita and Chodabhi, you're giving me the answer, but it is very vague, right? It is very vague if you say they are, genetically different. I think you said different chromosomes, but you have to specify. Ma'am, why is it 22 in sperm? It is not 22 in sperm. If you are writing 22 in sperm, no, the only way you will write that is 22 plus X, right? Because we know that in males especially, right? So when we talk about males, we know that males have 44 chromosomes and the last chromosome is the sex chromosome, which is XY. In females, we know that there are 44 chromosomes and it is XX. Now, in the case of sperms, they have half the number. That means that sperms will have 22 plus X or they can have 22 plus Y. But in the case of ovum or in the case of eggs, like how most of you are telling me, it will only be 22 plus X. So what is the genetic composition or how is it genetically different? Sperms can either have an X chromosome or they can have a Y chromosome, right? While on the other hand, we see that the egg that is there will only have 22 plus X. You take any X cell, it will all be 22 plus X. So are we clear with this? Are we clear to the answer? Yes, very good Manju, very good. Now, so with this, if you see, we've got the answer. Of course, I had this on screen, but you have to write it in 2 points, right? So in this case, we see that the ratio of chromosome number between egg and zygote is 1:2. Sperm can either have an X chromosome or a Y chromosome, but egg will always have X chromosome. Yes, very good Yashi, very good. Yes, Zoya has told me, ma'am, crystal clear hai. So koi nahi. Now we'll move on to the next set of questions. I think we have 9 more questions and we'll be winding up. But the thing is, the next 9 questions are a little bit long answer questions. Okay? Yes. Oh, thank you for that, Aditi. I missed that out. So, double fertilization before I go ahead, right? So, double fertilization is something that we observe in plants, right? Wherein we know that there are, in the pollen, we see that there are 2 gametes, okay? So, there are 2 male gametes. Now, what we observe is one male gamete will fuse with the X cell, right? And this fusion will result in the formation of a zygote. And then we also have a second male gamete. Now this second male gamete will fuse with the central cell or the secondary nucleus or the polar nuclei, whatever we call it, right? So we see that it will fuse with the polar nuclei. And here there are two. And as a result, it will result in the formation of PEN, that is primary endosperm nucleus, right? And in this case, what do we observe? Fusion has taken place twice. One male gamete with egg forming zygote, second male gamete with polar nuclei, resulting in double fertilization, right? So since fusion happens twice, we call it as double fertilization. Yes? So define double fertilization. Double fertilization can be defined as a process wherein fusion takes place twice. Once with the egg cell, one male gamete with egg cell, second male gamete with the polar nuclei. Ma'am, egg cell is at top? No, egg cell is normally, actually the position depends, okay, from where it is entering and all. But normally from what you study, egg cell is at the bottom, you have the synergids on the side, the polar nuclei will be in the center. Yes? 9 more questions. To draw, it will come. I have already taken a class on this, Rajkumar, on diagrams from, biology. In how to draw diagrams from biology, there are 2 videos that you will find. You can check it out. Okay? Yes. Let's move on to this question. Question number 21. Why are budding, fragmentation and regeneration all considered to be asexual types of reproduction? With neat diagrams, explain the process of regeneration in planaria. So you remember when I told you regeneration in planaria, asexual reproduction especially will be there and it will come for you in your exam. So there are chances that this kind of diagram can come. So let's answer this part by part, shall we? Why are budding, fragmentation and regeneration all considered to be types of asexual reproduction? Very good, very good. So in this case, all of you have told me only one parent is involved. Exactly. Yes, they are unicellular organisms, no variations. Okay. You cannot say unicellular because in this case, right, if you talk about planaria, planaria is not a unicellular organism. It's actually multicellular, right? And here also Spirogyra is actually filamentous also. So you cannot say unicellular as a point, right? So Yash, take care of that. No variations. Yes, okay. See, we're talking budding, regeneration, fragmentation. So you will have to talk about those main points, right? So here mainly one parent is involved and gametes are not involved, right? And of course we know variations are not observed. Yes, single parent is the more appropriate term. One thing I would like you to add is that regeneration, when you are writing about it, is only a mode of reproduction when in unfavorable conditions, right? So you need to understand that. So you should not say that our regeneration is a mode of reproduction. No, we just discussed, right? Most often than not, we cannot say that. But in unfavorable condition, it turns to be a mode of reproduction. Yes? So that is one thing. Now the second part of it is asking us to explain this with an example, right? New organism originates from cut parts. It does, Aman, very good. But in regeneration, normally like in planaria and all, no, it's not something very often. No, body is cut into 2 halves and then it's not something that you observe every day. So that's something you need to take care of. Like when you're writing about regeneration, always put that asterisk, right? So now next part, what they have asked us, let me go back to that slide. Right, they have asked us to explain process of regeneration in planaria. So I will do it here only, although I have another slide for it. So first let's start with defining it. So regeneration is a process wherein during unfavorable conditions, right? So in unfavorable conditions, an organism will regenerate either a part or will regenerate the missing part, right? The missing part to form a whole organism. In planaria, what do we observe? It is a type of regeneration in unfavorable conditions. It's a type of reproduction during unfavorable conditions, right? Yes, regeneration happens in lizard's tail, right? So you can write this down. So it's a process wherein an organism will regenerate the missing part in planaria during these conditions or during these unfavorable conditions, right? It is considered to be a type of reproduction. So you see, I'm not saying it is the mode of reproduction. Only in such cases it will be like that, right? So now next part is to draw. So how do you draw? Draw planaria. Planaria has a triangular head. It will have a long tail like this. And they say 2 eyes will be. Now what do we do? Let's cut planaria into 3 parts, right? Okay, we have chopped the planaria. So we'll have 1, we'll keep 2, and then we'll keep 3. Now you can draw it this way, or what you can do is you can draw 1, you can draw 2, and you can draw 3 to be very dramatic about it, right? So you can draw these 3 parts, and in the end what you need to do, draw 3 planarias at the end of it, right? So I'm going to draw chotu planarias so that because I don't have place, okay? So you'll draw 1. But make sure, okay, wait, I don't want to, mislead you, so I'm going to draw it properly only. 2 and 3. Yes. So this is how you will draw regeneration. Are we clear, everyone? Ma'am, planaria is only one type of cell. Simple body organization, which is why it is able to carry out regeneration. Yes? Are we clear? Ma'am, drawing is very boring. I know, but it's okay. Don't worry. Ma'am, it means planaria can never be destroyed. So planaria is an organism. See, it's not like it can never be killed or anything. It's just that if its body gets dismantled like this, it has the ability to come back, right? Yes. Okay. Are we clear? See, if this diagram goes, I will not be able to bring it back. So that's why I'm just making sure you're checking it. So here's the answer. I'm not going to go too much in detail, but if you come, it'll come for 5 marks, wherein you know that 3 marks is for explanation, 2 marks is for your diagram, right? So we know that in fragmentation, regeneration and budding, only single parent is involved. Hence, it's considered to be a type of reproduction. Now, regeneration in planaria, when we talk about it, the body might get cut into many pieces. Each piece or every lost piece can regenerate and a complementary portion can form, resulting in a new individual, which is why we see that if a planaria is divided into 3 pieces, we can get 3 planarias, right? And of course, don't worry about the answers. I will share it with you. Now, stay focused, everybody. Please don't get distracted. We are going to be looking at some more important questions. Second important one, write 2 points. And I think you had a very similar question in your sample paper also. Write 2 points of difference between asexual and sexual types of reproduction and describe why variations are observed in offspring formed by sexual reproduction. 4 marks, okay? Or even if it comes for 4 marks, this will come, sorry. 2 marks for the first part, 2 marks for the second part. First one, difference between asexual and sexual. They've asked exactly for 2, right? You all tell me first and then I'm going to move into the next one. Yes, very good, Aman, very good. 1 parent, 2 parent. No gametes are there, right? And we know that there is no fusion. So gametes are present, gametes are absent. No fusion is there, right? So we no variations or minimal variations, while we observe that variations are present, right? Very good. Variation due to 2 parents, okay. Now we are saying, so that's the first part. You can write 2 out of 4 that we have done. Now describe why variations are observed in the offsprings formed by sexual reproduction. Now why is it forming is what you have to tell me the answer to. Why is it formed? Yes, why are variations formed? Everyone in the chat, I'm waiting for your answer. Why are variations formed? This is very easy. We have already given an answer to this in the, when we were doing this. No, why are due to DNA copying error, okay. But we are talking about why that happens in sexual reproduction. So if it is sexual reproduction, I have given you this answer in the beginning of the session, right? Gametes are there, okay. Do you remember something on gene combination that we discussed? Yes, because of fertilization. There are two copies of DNA coming from the parent, right? So different sets of chromosomes coming in from the gametes, and there are new gene combinations which are formed, right? So due to these gene combinations is why we observe variations. So you'll have to write this answer down, very, very important, okay? So here, as you know, main point of difference is of course these, but the main thing you will also have to write down is that in sexual reproduction we observe variations because of course we know that there are new gene combinations, and we also know that there are two sets of chromosomes coming in from both the parent, right? Yes, DNA replication is not accurate. Exactly. So during DNA copying, there can be slight variations as well, right? So you can mention that point also, Chota B. Very good. Okay. So now this is the first part where you list. Here you will have to write any two out of the four that you see, and then you'll have to write this point. In sexual reproduction, we are able to find variations because gene pool or the genetic material is contributed by both the parents, right? And we see that crossing over, or there are new gene combinations, right? Very simple. New gene combinations which are there, and of course we know that DNA copying can also contribute to it, right? Yes, I know Josh is being low, but don't worry, Josh will still be high as long as I am there. Ma'am, are these handwritten? No. It's not handwritten. We just have a font like that. Okay? That's awesome, Kashish. I'm glad that you enjoyed the class. Yes? Crossing over in meiosis actually marks that variation, but because you don't have it in your NCERT in detail, no? That's why we are not going too much in detail. Clone formation is the formation of identical copies from the parent. That is what we mean by clone formation. Yes? What are you doing? Top 30 questions from How Do Organisms Reproduce, right? Okay, let's stick to what happened. Ma'am, what happens to egg if it is not fertilized? It is removed out through the body during menstruation, right? Yes, very good. So now let's have a quick look at this one. Distinguish between pollination and fertilization. So that's part number 1. Mention the site and production of fertilization in a flower and draw a neat label diagram of a pistil showing pollen tube growth and its entry into the ovule. So 1, 2, 3 parts, you will get 5 marks for this kind of a question. So you will get 2 marks to 3 marks for the first part. Then for the second part, you will get 1 mark because you just need to say site and product of fertilization. And again, if this is for 2 marks, then 2 marks will go for diagram. Okay? Yes, all right. Okay, so can we stay focused? First part, can you tell me pollination versus fertilization? This is so easy. You all can only tell me. We have 7 more questions and we are done, guys. Don't worry. Josh will be very high. Pollination is transfer of gametes, or can we say it is transfer of pollen? We need to be specific, Aina. So this is transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of a flower. Yes? Now next up we have fertilization, which is nothing but fusion of male and female gamete, right? Now here we know that agents are involved, here no agents are involved. So all these things are very important to write down. There, yes? Now apart from this, we also need to mention the site of fertilization. Which is the site of fertilization? What is the site of fertilization? Can you tell me the answer? Site of fertilization and of course the product of fertilization. In plants we are talking about, okay, in the flower. Where is it? Ovary or ovule? What will you write the answer? Very good. This is an external process. This is an internal process. Ovary or ovule? What will you write? Fallopian tube is in females. Here we are talking about flower. Let's come back to flower. What will we write? Yes, we will write ovule. Answer is ovule. Okay, don't write ovary. Ovary is a Ovary, you may see there are chances that if you write ovary, they're like, you're not being specific, I will cut half mark here. Which is why it's always good to be specific, right? Now we know that zygote in this case is the product of fertilization. And last way, you need to draw a diagram. So main points that you need to write is pollination, the definition that is there like we discussed. Then we know that pollination is achieved using some external agents, and here it is formed by the pollen tube growth, leads to fertilization, leads to fruit formation. It's an external process. Normally in flowers it is an internal process, okay? And then you need to write these 2 pointers down as we discussed. Ovary, here again it will not be ovary. Ovule is the site of fertilization and pollination. And zygote is the product, right? And you can draw this diagram. I'm not spending time drawing it because again all of you would be all of you might be well accustomed to drawing it, so don't worry about it, okay? All right, are we clear with this, everybody? Are we clear with this? Any doubts so far? We have around 6 more questions, so we can wind up in the next 15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes maybe we'll try to wind it up, so don't worry. Yes? Very good, very good. So proud of all of you. Let me tell you that. Let me take this minute to tell you that it requires lots of dedication, lots of commitment for being the kind of wonderful students that all of you are. It is not easy to be in so many classes, paying attention, preparing, but it goes on to show how much you are serious about your board exams and how you are how much you are involved in it, right? So I'm very proud of all of you, and I hope you know that, right? Yes. Next time, I will come with lots of menti, okay? Koi doubt? Okay, fine. All right, very good. Now moving on to the next one, very easy, right? So as you know, distinguish between a gamete and a zygote, right? And explain their roles in sexual reproduction. 4-mark question, right? So what is the difference between gamete and zygote? I want you to tell me the answer before I tell you the answer. Yes? See, as much as you say it is your duty, you also know, right? It requires immense amount of commitment. So I hope you are taking a pat on your back for how much you are doing. I hope you are all proud of yourselves. Yes? Very good. Zygote is a precursor. Role in sexual reproduction. Very good, Manju. Very good. Zygote is formed when gametes fuse. Yes, okay. Zygote is a single cell. Very good. So, single-celled. But gametes are also single cell, no? So mainly you have to start with saying these are reproductive cells, right? So these are reproductive cells, and this of course is formed as a result of fertilization. Number of chromosomes, they have half the number, or they have N, while zygote has 2N. Yes? What else? I need you to tell me the answers. Whatever you are telling, I'm going to write on screen. Zygote is a product of fertilization. Okay, so here we see that it is a product of fertilization. Here we know that these are involved in fertilization. Yes? What else? Haploid cells, diploid, already written. Very good. More or less you've got the answer to this, right? Very good, very good. Gametes are the germ cells, correct. You can say germ cells, sex cells, reproductive cells, they'll all be correct. So gametes are the reproductive cells which are known as sex cells or germ cells, right? And they are produced. That's another thing you can write down. They are produced in the reproductive organs. You don't need to write gonads and all, you can say reproductive organs. And their main role is to carry out sexual reproduction. Yes? While zygote on the other hand is formed as a result of the fusion of male and female gamete. Right? And we know that this is formed in the fallopian tube in the case of humans. And we know that this has all the information from both males as well as females. Gametes, very good. Another point we can write down, gametes are formed by meiotic division. Zygote develops using mitotic division. So don't just say meiosis, mitosis, okay? You have to say gametes are formed. Zygote will develop. So you need to write this down. Yes? Very good. So now when you are writing the answer, you need to mention these points down, right? So start off with the difference between the two. Gametes are formed after meiosis. It is formed by the fusion. Gametes are haploid in number. These are diploid in number. They are male and female. They are formed in the reproductive organs, right? And they are needed for reproduction. This formation of zygote takes place inside the female and it's a precursor to the embryo formation. Now this is the last point, which is the second part, right? What is their role? So explain the role in sexual reproduction. So in the case of, so in the case of zygote, we know that in the case of gametes, we know that gametes are the sex cells or the reproductive cells which are necessary in or during sexual reproduction, right? And zygote is the first cell that is formed which eventually gives rise to the young one. So I hope now we are clear for this 4-mark question. Are we clear, everybody? Are we clear, or are we spamming the chat is what is happening? Everyone, if you are not paying attention, I need you to pay attention, right? Yes, okay. Yes, ma'am. Kids are spamming, exactly. You all know, no, our moderator will time you out if that happens. Vishnu, are we paying attention? Then you will definitely get timed out soon and we don't want that, okay? So pay attention, everybody, otherwise a 15-minute time will now get extended by half an hour, which I don't want, okay? Very good, very good. And in the meanwhile, I hope all of you have hit that like button and subscribe button. Yes? Please, please do that. Ma'am, can you tell me what is meiosis? Meiosis is also known as reductional division, where a single parent cell wherein we see that a single parent cell which has doubled or diploid number of chromosomes will undergo meiotic division such that at the end of it only half the number of chromosomes will be there. So that is what we call as meiotic division. Now moving on to the next and the most easiest question. Draw the diagram of a flower and label the 4 whorls. Write the names of the gametes producing the organs of the flower, right? So this is very simple. I have already shown you how to draw the diagrams, right? So what I will do is I'm drawing a very rough diagram, okay? So like you know, whenever I tell you to draw a diagram of flower, start with the pistil. Yes, I'm going to draw a very small diagram. So draw a diagram of the pistil, yes, and then inside you can draw the section of the ovary, and then you can make a line like this and draw the ovules. Now next up, what you need to draw is the stamen, and we know that this is the anther, which is bilobed, right? So this right here is bilobed. Now once we do that, let's draw the sepals. And then we will draw the receptacle, and then we will draw this. Last, what we are going to do is we will draw our petals. So I've drawn it with one color to show you that this is how your diagram is going to look like, and it need not be too fancy. Now they've just asked you to label the 4 whorls, right? All you need to do is to label the 4 whorls. Yes? So now when you're doing it, start with this, which is nothing. I'll use another color for labeling. This right here is the calyx. Then you need to label the corolla, right? Then this part, which is the androecium. And this right here, which is the gynoecium. So you don't need to label it individually. You need to label the 4 whorls. Okay, if you write pistil, stamen, and if you write, petal, sepal, you will lose marks, okay? You will be losing marks, which is why label it as androecium, gynoecium, corolla, and calyx. Yes? And at the end of the day, they have also asked you to write the names of gamete-producing organs. So ovary produces the female gamete and anther produces the male gamete, okay? Very good. Anther and ovary are the gamete-producing organs. Very good, Manju. Very, very good. Yes? Is this CBSE? It is CBSE. This is from exemplar questions. We will only label their group names. Exactly. You don't need to write stamen has anther, filament. You don't need to write all of that, right? Just write calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Yes? Hello, Nainika. Hello. Yes. Okay. So that is the answer to it. Now moving on, another very commonly asked question. Okay, what is a whorl? A whorl is nothing but the organ that is there, right? So here if you see all the sepals, they form the calyx. All the petals that are there form another whorl. Because of their arrangement, their circular-like arrangement, we call it as a whorl, okay? Now moving on to the next one, last 4 questions and we are done, right? So what is placenta and what is the role of placenta? Now we have already learned about this, so you should only be telling me the answer, right? What is placenta and mention its role during pregnancy. Can you tell me? Organ that provides nutrients. Now Aman, you will have to say it is, yes, very good Dikshita, it is a disc-shaped organ, very good. So we know that it is a disc-shaped organ. And we know that it is extremely necessary. Why? Can you tell me? It forms the connection. It is not forming the connection. That is the umbilical cord, right? We see that it develops in the uterus. Very good. During pregnancy, it provides oxygen and nutrients to the baby, right? And we know that carbon dioxide and other waste materials are collected, right? So carbon dioxide and other waste materials are collected from the baby and taken to the maternal body or the mother's body so that it can be expelled out. Okay. Now, one more thing you have to write because this is 4 marks, right? So you have to write 4 marks. One more thing that you told me already, which you have to write. Something is there about the placenta, no? What is it about the placenta? Can you quickly tell me? What is it about the placenta that increases the surface area for this? Yes? Yes, very good Shrishti. Very, very good. Exactly. It has villi, right? So we know that there are villi which increases the surface area. So they increase the surface area for absorption or this transport that is there. So you'll have to mention this surface area aspect. So if you have 4 marks, you see that you will get 1 mark for each of it. Very good, Chota Beam. Very good. Yes, the baby's umbilical cord is there. Yes. So as you know, I've already mentioned this. It's a disc-like structure embedded in the uterine wall. It consists villi on the embryo side of it, so that, you know, it increases surface area for exchange. Embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood along with O2, and this special tissue helps it with it, right? So when you're writing the answer, these points need to be there. Disc-like structure which is embedded in the uterine wall. It contains villi on the embryo side. Mother side has blood spaces which surround on the villi and provides large surface area for, you know, transport of nutrients and oxygen from mother to embryo, and it also collects unwanted waste material from embryo to mother, right? And we see that waste substances are, you know, transferred into mother's blood through the placenta. So these points need to be here. It will come for either 4 marks and you will easily get it, okay? Very simple and easy. Yes? Now, of course, for those of you asking about PYQ, previous year question papers, you will definitely, we are coming up with it. As a matter of fact, from next week, it's going to start. I have leaked a very big surprise, but don't worry. All I need you to do is subscribe to the channel. You hit this like button, you hit that subscribe button. Trust me, we have got you covered. When I say we have got you covered, I don't even say it because it's like almost like our tagline. I really mean it. You see what all is going to come in the channel. For all of you, you will be like, BYJU'S 9 and 10 is the best, and I know it, right? Okay. This again, as you know, it is not over. I still have 3 more questions. I know it sounded like the class is over, but I still have some more questions to finish. Yes. What are the various ways to avoid pregnancy? Elaborate any one method, right? So elaborate any one method. Yes. This again, commonly asked on contraception, you will definitely get it, okay? This is most likely to come. Contraception method is a way to avoid pregnancy. Very good. So first start by defining that, right? So contraception is a way in which individuals can avoid unwanted pregnancy. So what are the various ways of contraception? Very good. Oral pills, barrier method. Contraception in itself will not be a method, okay? So you shouldn't write contraception. Contraceptive methods, which is also known as chemical methods or hormonal methods. Surgical method is there, barrier method is there, and then of course all these three. Intrauterine, IUDs are there, right? Surgical also. So these are the four. Now they are saying elaborate any one. So first and foremost, when we talk about barrier method, right, we know that it creates a physical barrier. Yes? So we see that it creates a physical barrier between the sperm and the egg. So examples are condoms, which can be used by males, which is normally worn on the penis to avoid, it avoids contact between sperm and egg. Or you have female condoms or diaphragms that are there, which is normally worn by the females, which again acts as a barrier, right? Now, if you're writing about intrauterine devices, you know that you have copper T or lippy loop, right? So these are structures which are inserted into the female's body or the uterus, right? And they release copper ions that reduce the mobility of sperms. And it can, now a disadvantages, it can cause some uncomfort or some disadvantage, some irritation in the uterus, right? I am explaining each of this so that you can write whichever you are most comfortable with, right? Then you have hormonal method, which is also known as oral pills, right? And we know that these pills actually affect the hormonal balance and change the hormone cycle to prevent implantation. Now, this is not very advisable because you know that this can cause hormonal imbalance. Then, of course, surgical methods are there, which include tubectomy and vasectomy. Tubectomy is when the fallopian tube is cut and stitched, or it's ligated and cut, so that, it forms a physical barrier. I mean, we see that at the end of the day, now, if the fallopian tube is cut, there's no way in which fertilization will happen, right? Vasectomy is when the vas deferens is blocked by surgery. So when you are writing the answer, you can elaborate on any one, right? I have written all four for all of you, but you pick one and you write, elaborate properly, you will get 4 marks. 3 marks for identifying all of it. You will get 2 marks for writing all the 4, 2 marks for elaborating one method. Are we clear, everybody? Are we clear with this? On contraceptives, are we clear? 3 more questions and we are done. Yes? Last 3 are also very easy. Very, very simple, very easy. Ma'am, IUCDs, no, they will not be able to protect from STDs, right? They will not be able to. So you can write that as a pointer also. Ma'am, what is endometrium layer? It is the innermost layer of the uterus, right? So when you look at the walls of the uterus, you have perimetrium, myometrium, endometrium. Endometrium is the innermost one that is there. All hearts, awesome. Now next, last set of questions. How does fertilization? So easy. How does fertilization take place? Fertilization occurs once a month. Comments. Okay. Yes, ma'am, super male or super female? I know the answer to this. It's actually with respect to, I think, number of chromosomes. But I'm not sure, JE brothers. Can I get back to you on this? Can you all tell me the answer to this? Very quickly, everybody. I need you to start with how does fertilization take place, right? Where will I update these notes? On Telegram. I will be putting it on Telegram. Okay? So the Telegram link is there. Yes, fertilization in humans. So you will have to tell the whole story. This comes for 4 marks, means you will have to write the whole Ramayana. Start all the way from how the sperms enter, how the egg is released, how they will meet in the fallopian tube, right? So you'll have to elaborate on that, right? So you know that fertilization is nothing but. So start with the definition. So fertilization is nothing but the fusion of the male and female gamete, right? It's nothing but the fusion of male and female gamete. Yes? Now on the other hand, we know that sperms are released into the female reproductive tract through the vagina. And we know that the sperms will swim upwards all the way till the fallopian tube. Now at the same time, we also know that the egg will release, the ovary will release the egg as a result of ovulation, right? And we know that it will be released into the fallopian tube. And when the sperm and egg meet in the fallopian tube, they will fuse, resulting in the formation of a single-celled zygote. So this is what we understand as fertilization. Now on the other hand, if fertilization does not happen, right? If the egg remains unfertilized, we see that the inner linings of the uterus, which has depositions of blood and mucus, can get discharged, or it will be shed off every once in a month along with the unfertilized egg, which is what we call as menstruation, right? Now, one thing you need to understand, and one thing that you need to point out here, because they're saying fertilization, if fertilization does not occur, right? Fertilization occurs once a month, yes? So you will need to mention that ovum that is there, we see that one ovum is released by one ovary in 1 month, right? So this is something you will have to specify. So this is super important when you are writing your answer, which is why once a month you start with that, right? Once a month, one egg is released from either one of the ovaries, okay? So it's from either one of the ovaries. Egg moves to the fallopian tube from the ovaries, sperm swims upwards to the fallopian tube, and we know that this process, if it fuses, it's called as fertilization, right? And we know that if fertilization does not happen, then leads to menstruation, which is why we say that fertilization can happen only once a month, because we know that only one egg is available every 28 days. Yes? Are we clear with this question? Are we clear? Very important question, 4 to 5 marks. You will have to write it down. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease, right? Ma'am, 3 concepts in one. Exactly. There are 3 concepts. 1 concept again. Aman, can you tell me which concept you want me to explain? I'm not able to understand. Fertilization, you have internal fertilization and external fertilization, right? Internal fertilization is when it happens inside the body, yes? So like in the case of humans, it happens inside the female body. But we also have external fertilization that we observe like in the case of fishes, or what sometimes we observe in the case of frogs as well, right? Wherein we see that the eggs are laid and it is in the water and the sperms are released, and in the water medium the sperms and egg fused, right? One ovule, one mother. yeah, I'll explain that part. One ovule, one mother. That's so cute. So it's very easy, okay? Now we know that if this is the female ring, I'm just going to use that diagram. I'm very tired to draw the egg. So here it's very easy, okay? Every month you have a pair of ovaries in females, right? So in every month or once in 28 days, in 1 month, if this ovary, let's say ovary number 1 releases 1 egg, next month we see that this ovary will release 1 egg. So it is not that in 1 month 2 ovaries will release 2 eggs. It's just one that gets out, right? So that's something you need to know. Alright, so this is very simple and easy. Now moving on to the last 2 questions. And like I told you, we have already discussed this. Reproduction is essentially a phenomenon that is not for survival of an individual, but for the stability of a species. Justify. Okay? Papa chain creation, I think I just explained that, but nonetheless, I will explain it once again, right? So fertilization that is there, we know that is the fusion, right? So fertilization can be internal, that means it can happen inside the body, or it can be external, which can happen outside the body, right? So here you have humans. As an example, here you can write fishes or frogs. 2 more questions and we are done, okay? 2 more questions, last 2. Justify is a very, I know, we always get scared when we look at justifying. But so if you think about it, no, the first initial questions we saw, I already explained this answer to you, right? I've already explained this answer if you think about it. I've already explained this, no, content-wise I've explained. I've told you what are the pointers you need to write. This is not a new question for all of you, no? How many of you are thinking that, ma'am, ye bahut new question hai, concept hi naya hai? No, I've already told you the answer. It's very easy, right? Baki ka conversations, last 2 questions hai. For last 2 questions, at least you focus in class, no? Why are they getting timed out? Because they are spamming in the chat. That's why. Yes? Coming back. Now we know why reproduction is essential, right? We know that reproduction is not just a phenomena for surviving of an individual. Not just for an individual X. So let's assume we have individual X. It's not like if individual X does not reproduce, he's going to die, right? He will still be able to survive. But the thing is, if individual X does not reproduce, we see that his lineage or his family stops there. Now imagine if there's a population of such people like individual X's who stop reproducing. That means that this can affect the continuity of species, right? Which is why reproduction is essential for the continuity of species so that it protects it from becoming extinct. And these variations that accumulate during the copying of DNA also provide a certain stability to the species, right? And this is also essential because at the end of the day, there is competition, and we know that if an organism is if it does not reproduce and it's hunted down, then it will get affected, right? So when you're writing the answer, write these 4 points. Organisms need energy for survival when they obtain life processes from nutrition and respiration. Reproduction does require energy, but doesn't mean that if an individual does not reproduce, the individual is going to die, right? Now we know that it is necessary for the continuity of species, and of course this happens through DNA copying, and this also makes sure that there's considerable number of variations which also stabilize the population. Okay, very simple. So Gayu edits, as you know, right? We have if you check it out, we have a smart playlist. It must be there in the description of this video also. You can check it out and you'll be able to find. We'll try to gather all the PDFs also for all of you. Ma'am, is cervix a reproductive organ? And what is the function? We'll not say cervix is a reproductive organ, but it's part of the reproductive system. A reproductive organ is defined as an organ which produces a gamete or the reproductive cells, right? So that is what we will define that. Okay, no problem Yash, no problem. Ma'am, please wait, I am still writing. Arey, no problem Lakshit, I will share the PDF with you, no issues. Fallopian tube, so fallopian tube connects your ovaries to the uterus, and fallopian tube is also the site where fertilization takes place, right? Tubectomy is a process wherein the fallopian tubes are cut and ligated as a part of contraception. It's a, surgical method of contraception. Yes? Evolution part is deleted actually. That's why you mainly have only heredity part. Yes? Last question for the day, right? Last question. Describe sexually transmitted diseases and mention 3 ways to prevent them. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Ma'am, where did the egg go if it doesn't get fused? It will be removed out through the body during menstruation, right? It will be removed out, unfertilized egg. So what are sexually transmitted diseases? Sexually transmitted diseases are very easy, right? So they are nothing but those diseases which are normally transmitted during during sexual act, right? Or during sexual intercourse. So we see that some of the common diseases that are there are normally AIDS, syphilis, and we have gonorrhea, which are all examples. There's also warts here that are there. Now mainly we know that the means of spread are during unprotected intercourse, and this can happen. Other ways in which these diseases are transmitted could be, through pregnancy, or maybe during some, improper blood transfusion or needle use, right? So how do we prevent it? By, of course, making sure that we use contraception. Individuals use contraception. So how can we prevent sexually transmitted diseases? Using contraceptive methods like condoms or physical barriers, avoiding sexual contact with unknown partners, avoiding sharing, and of course, making sure individuals get vaccinated. Right? So these are the pointers that you should write. You will get 3 marks for this. You will get 1 mark here. And with this, you will get 4 out of 4. So are we clear, everybody? Are we clear? And I hope all of you have hit that like button. I hope all of you have hit that subscribe button, because you know that BYJU'S 9 and 10 has got you covered, and we don't mean it. We do not mean it lightly, right? So here's a quick reminder for all of you on India's next Quizmaster, because Saurabh sir and I are coming live on November 30th. So if you still have not registered, please do register. And here's a quick reminder for spoken English classes. If you know everybody who is in 9th stand, if you know anybody in 9th or 8th grade, you can help them out. Any doubts that are there? Diaphragm versus male condom. Male condom is inserted in the male genitalia, that is the penis, which acts as a physical barrier. Diaphragm is inserted in the female body, that acts as a physical barrier, right? Yes, so did you all enjoy today's class? I know today's class is very long. We almost had it for 2.5 hours. But this is very important. Did you find this helpful? Yes, did you all find this helpful? I want you to know, because see, if you find this helpful, then we need to come up with more such classes, right? Yes. No. Okay. How are identical twins formed and fraternal? I've already discussed this. Identical twins are formed when a single zygote cell, or when it undergoes division, two cells will get implanted. From a single cell, it will split and two cells get implanted. What do you say? We see that will form identical one. Fraternal is when fertilization happens twice. That's very rare, right? But when we see that when two cells get fertilized, it forms fraternal twins. Does contraceptive methods help in preventing STD? They do. Okay? Awesome. Okay, Aina. All right. And if you found this helpful in the class, right, you should let me know in the comment section. Comment right away that, ma'am, I found this class helpful and I want more of these, right? So very quickly, I hope that you've already liked this video. Tell your friends about this class as well. Tell them that in BYJU'S 9 and 10, we've got you covered no matter what, right? And do not forget to subscribe. Yes, thank you everybody. Good night, and I will see you all very soon again. Bye-bye and have a nice day.